Way! What's the crack, folks, and welcome to the Orksmas special, the last live hobby hangout of 2020. And with me today are my very special guests, which you should all know about at this stage if you're subscribed to the War Bosses, and if you're not, you should be. We have guest number one. Oh, who's doing an audio loop already? Jesus, lads. Yeah. Go on. We'll let you intro first. Go on. Say hello. Hello. Seedings and beatings, I was feeling orky. Yeah. So that's the hobby gear. Hey! You've got December. Well, alright. December. Merry Orksmas. I love this time of year. Is everybody else? We have a few lads. Big Mac Dascall's here. Preston's here. Brenda's here. What's the crack, Brenda? And mostly Zen's here as well. What's the story, Gits? Are we all set for Orksmas? Have we all got our little treats in? I've managed to acquire a stash for this evening to keep me well fueled on the supplied. A few snowballs as well. Oh yeah. Oh. Oh. Well, I do. Is it fries Turkish delight? I do like a bit of fries Turkish delight. I can't pass down a bit of the old fries Turkish delight. It's the good stuff. Angus is here. Poke is here. Orksmas. I think everything is looting. What's this? A kilo of Turkish. Now that's a dedicated man if ever I've seen one. Where's the? No, a man after me own heart. So this is it. Oh yeah, Dory. Oh yeah, I love a bit of Dory. Dread, we can't hear. You can't hear Dread. I don't know how you can't hear Dread. I can't hear Dread at all. Hold on. Let's try this again. Properties.
It wouldn't be a plastic crack.
It wouldn't be a plastic crack stream.
It wouldn't be
without some
stream.
sort of technical difficulties. I bet you they can hear you now.
I bet they can hear me. Can they hear me? I don't know. You tell me. You'll have to tell me.
Well, say hello, Santa. Oh, there's no Santa
hello,
here.
Santa.
There's no Santa Claus. In this neck of the woods. I'd be shaking in my boots. No sound on Dread or the.
Oh.
Now I can hear them. Hey, there we go. You know, that's my fault. Yet again, Captain ill-prepared over here.
Just going to blame Scar for that one.
Hello. Yeah, would blame me. Always and forever. So what are we working on tonight, lads, since it's a hobby hangout, apart from stuffing me face with, like, snowballs?
Well, it must be Christmas because Dim's painting grots.
Ooh.
Well, no, it must be Christmas because Dim's painting. But I've also got my
Can you
squig
killer
killer nose. That's it. There we go.
Big killer nig sword, Zig. That sounds awesome.
Squig killer nose.
And I've also sprayed the squig off too.
Ooh.
Mozilla. So I've been working on that and getting that. Did a mild zenithal on it. I don't know if I'm going to chuck any paint on this guy yet because I haven't decided
what colour he's going to be.
What colour he's going to be, yeah.
Are you going to do in purple or something a bit different?
I want them all to be different colours so they all stand out, I suppose. So purple's probably out at this point.
You could do one yellow and one green.
I'm thinking I'm doing green because I'll probably do sort of browny, creamy scales on it because it's got like it's almost like a turtle, which makes me want to do it green and brown with some cream highlights.
Man,
like
you have to go Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it.
Yeah.
You have to do like green and then like one of the colors, like a blue Howdah or something, or you have to do something like a.
Yeah.
You have to. Has to be done.
The question is which of the turtles should it be?
Well, obviously, like
you
the answer to that problem is to buy 3 more of them.
Well, to be fair, I've got Kyle's one to print off. He's probably got two actually.
Are you going to do that in
I
resin?
like the idea of a Donatello one, like a sneaky, like invisible squiggle, or semi-invisible squiggle.
Purple everywhere.
Well, my gargantuan is invisible because he's purple. So, which, if you watch my, oh my god, I'm about to plug my channel.
That's even more frightening. You can only hear him stomping away. You can't actually see him.
If you watch my channel, there's
Nope, never do. No.
Oh, fucking
At least he's honest.
Joking.
I don't blame you. But if you watch my channel, I've got the Norzilla review, and at the end, I have some ancillary content where I show alternative models that you can use and show you how tiny they are. Particularly like is it the Great Beast of Gorgoroth or whatever it is from the Lord of the Rings range.
The detail on that didn't look very good either. So
it's a bit crap, to be honest. I think the Seraphon / Lizardmen stuff is probably better for the purpose than.
It's a bit small though, isn't it? Isn't the like Seraphon stuff like a bit?
I've got the Bastillodon, and that's a bit on the small side, but I've not got the Stegodon, which is basically Triceratops. And I'd quite like to get that because I would like to add it to the range anyway.
I've seen a really cool Orky conversion of the what's the ogre one with the tusks? I've seen that done with like a death roller.
Thunder Tusk, or the what's the other one called? There's a Thunder Tusk, and then there's another one.
It's basically like a woolly mammoth kind of ish.
I'm definitely gonna sculpt one. I'm just gonna do it myself
From scratch.
Yeah,
you're a braver man than I.
Partly 3D printed, and then the rest of it with like green stuff and plastic art and stuff.
Green stuff and stuff. Combination, crossover, 3D printing and sculpting. Jesus.
Oh yeah, no, that's the. See, I bought.
What you think? You think getting a 3D printer is going to change the fact that Dread's going to modify every fucking thing?
And you know what? Like, I am definitely someone from the camp of converting and doing it that way, and I love the old school way, and I'm really intrigued and excited. But I know a lot of people that are like the same way as I am, really into plastic art or really into green stuff. And when 3D printing came about, they either thought, "Whoa, that looks awesome," all the opportunities, or they went, "Oh, that's scary. That's going to completely nullify what I do." And I want to sort of embrace it. I want to just use it as part of what I do. So, like, for example, like when I was before making a grot tank, I was having to like draw out this. Like, I've got videos on it, but actually drawing out like the side of the tank, cutting that out, making the hole, measuring all the top and blah blah. The basic shape, and then filling it out with green stuff and that without air pockets and that, so it can be cast. Takes a long while. Being able to just print that basic shape off and then decorate it with detail that's hand done be much easier. So like that's what I'm thinking, is something like a squig off. I could print a basic shape and then I can add, clay and then eventually, like milliput and green stuff and whatnot to, finish it off and then cast that once it's done, because then it'll have a more natural look and a more organic look, I think.
I get you. Yeah, no, you're hitting on some good points in regards to like 3D printing. I think the same thing happens with airbrushing with some folks. As soon as they hear of an airbrush, they see it as, oh, I don't want it to replace my brush, when in reality it should be an addition to your toolbox. You're not replacing what's in your toolbox, you're adding another tool in.
That's not because I'm painting, so that's what I'm doing tonight, so we'll talk about that in a minute, I suppose.
Yes, the man with the airbrush build. See, I do watch your videos and all. See, look, there you go. And by the way, folks, their channels, links in the description below for Dreadwild Gaming, the Hobby Gear, and Stevo, who's not with us today, but he's off enjoying his holidays. So, Merry Orksmas, Stevo.
Merry Orksmas, Stevo. Have a good one, mate.
Have a good one, bud. And have a good one to all of you here. Everyone's showed up. We've Essex Boys, Roxy, Rivets and Daka, D-Sun's here. Pretty sure I saw Coil, mostly Zen. The usual suspects. What's the crack? What What is the
Nice.
crack? Everyone now I can hear Dread. Yeah, everyone's saying hello.
Now they can hear me.
What's wrong with
Oh,
Rossi?
oh, it's because I didn't turn Dread on. That's what it was. I hadn't turned Dread properly on.
It's
Oh,
all going downhill from here. So I have the
oh,
Gear Guts. The big Gear Guts miniature. I'm gonna
it
try
looks
some.
really nice with an undercoat on.
I've done some green stuff until I'm on the underneath of the arms.
Uh-huh.
But apart from that, it's pretty much bog standard. I'm
Oh,
gonna throw
class.
some rust. So I started to rust them. I'm gonna paint them up as a Badmion because, well, it's Gear Guts. He's a named character. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna. I'm just gonna go over them in a layer of this primer rust. So I've already primed them in black, but I'm gonna go.
Oh, I
over
love that paint. I love that paint.
I'm
That's
gonna
one of
do,
my favourites.
I'm gonna do primer rust, and then I'm gonna do a couple of different rusts, and then I'll do up the yellow and stuff like that. I don't know. Well, I'm just going with the flow. You know what I mean? But that's what I'm gonna be doing tonight.
Beautiful.
Roxy's like, Scar, what's your priming tonight, champ?
Well, there's a thing.
I love it.
I'm going to be moving the camera down in a second because I might as well. No point looking at my bloody ugly mug all night. But as Roxy's in the chat, I haven't been doing a lot of hobby, but Roxy asked me to do some pigtails for her war boss that I have printed off. So there we go. I've been making a start on those. So I need to do the hair detail, but I've done the shape, and I'll probably do a video on how you do them.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Well, just on like hair or top knots, but like, trust me, like if you need cheap frames for sculpting to make armatures and things, get yourself a pack of those size paper clips, the big ones, and they go far and they're cheap.
Do you have any adhesion problems with them? Because I know some paper clips do be coated in something to preserve them. So I've had problems with that before when I've done pinning with some paper clips and they won't adhere properly. Now, mind you, that was years ago.
I mean, sometimes I do, but
Some of them you can burn it off if they've got like a bit of a plastic coating, but just better off just not buy them ones with that sort of.
yeah, these are just plain metal ones. Get the plain metal ones. Don't get the ones with the plastic coating.
Well, all right. Now, what have I been? Well, what am I doing? What am I doing? Right, I have been. If anyone's been following me on my Instagram, I've been undercoating my troops for my 1500 point army. I was doing it on my live stream the other night as well. So since the other night, what I've done is, let me grab one here. So I've given them another highlight from above with a dry brush. So I finished with the airbrush then. So I was using the airbrush just to do the base coat, which was a German red brown, and then I mixed that with desert tan and a little bit of aged white for a sort of front on
put up in Discord,
shoot. Yeah, I'll put some pictures up in Discord.
So there's your gra that you're on about. And then your ammo.
So I've hit them from above with a little bit of a highlight with a brush afterwards, dry brush, and then I've put an ink wash on them, a sort of dark brown ink wash, and then I've called them sort of done on the sort of like pre-shading, highlighting stage. So now it's just a case of adding the colours, which I picked out last night. I actually mixed out a really nice green and I sort of added it to the skin and I thought, oh yeah, I like it. It's really cool. Didn't write down the ratio that I'd mixed up. And then I realised one of the paints that I picked up. So I know that it consists of, it's definitely got some Vallejo Model Wash dark green in it. It's definitely got some Vallejo Model Wash olive green in it. It's definitely got a good gug of Aphonian camo shade in it from Games Workshop. It's also got a good bit of Dalarowny olive green ink, and it's got a little bit of sepia ink as well from Dalarowny. So I know it consists of those plus Model Air Pale Green, but I picked up the Model Air Pale Green that's got mix written on it, but I didn't see that I wrote mix on it like a dipshit. So I don't know what else I added to it. It's definitely a different color slightly. So, so I'm going to try tonight to mix up. I'm going to have to write down the ratios and try mixing the same color as I made the other night, as best I can. But I don't know what other color could be in it. So I've got all my other greens out because I don't
Have
know.
this witch's cauldron of a wash going, where you're just like a bit of this, a bit of that.
Yeah,
Add in a
and I'm
bit
gonna
more
have
of
to
that.
write it down and get it right because I'm then gonna make a big bottle of it. So I'm gonna make a big bottle of it and just write skin, and that'll just be what I glaze over as skin. So I've actually I've got the desk down cam today. I will switch over to it in a bit, but I've actually shared some images there on the Discord. I don't know if you've got them up there.
Yeah, I'm chowing them up.
Speaking of someone who's had a similar problem before,
There's a skin one there, so that's what the skin looks like with just one coat of green over that pre-shading. So that's why I did the pre-shading, because it gives a sort of warmth to the green.
Is it? Yeah, his back
Yeah.
looks nice. Yeah.
It gives a bit of warmth to the green, having the red underneath it. And a lot of people add that later. Once they've done their green, they add a little bit of purple, a little bit of red, or a little bit of flesh tone or something like that to sort of like make the skin look more fleshy. But I've got it sort of already underneath the skin, which is kind of what you're trying to replicate anyway. So that's why I did it. That and the fact that I'm going to be painting yellows and reds do well with a sort of a brown undercoat, and better than they would against a black white one. So that's why. That's the method to the madness.
Hopefully you managed to get your recipe down to a fine art. Do you bother with a painting recipe book? I know I keep meaning to, but I don't really mix that much.
I'm going to. Exactly like you, mate. Every time I go painting, I come up with something and I really like it, and then I go, "Oh yeah, but how am I ever going to do that again? Because I didn't write it down." So this time, definitely.
well, I did write it down. I did write mine down and then lost it. So
done that before too. Before too.
Back up your recipes as well. But yeah, speaking of someone who's precisely, like, top tip: if you come up with a skin recipe, and I mean, if you hang around orc players long enough, you probably find that most of them have got a unique skin recipe, because there's so many different greens out there and so many different ways. And I was looking for something particularly different because I'm mostly painting grots, and I don't like grots to look just like goblins. Basically, I like Gretchen to look a little different. So I think mine, but the bigger problem with my sort of skin recipe is that it's dated anyway, because my skin recipe made heavy use of foundation paints, which are now gone.
Yeah,
long gone.
So yeah, well, it kind of tells you the last time I was seriously painting my Gretchen.
Well, see, what I'm doing now is I've been thinking long and hard about painting for a long while. When I've been building these orcs that I've been converting and that, and I've done the traditional Games Workshop style layering of painting before. I've done that where you're building up from a base color, and you might pick several colors and go up in different highlights and add a wash and maybe some dry brush and blah blah. I've done that, and I want to do something totally different. And I've been watching a lot of that Vince Venturella before, and when I saw his Zenithal highlighting, and I saw how when he just adds a bit of color over as a thin glaze over the top of something that's zenithally highlighted, that it's picking up the highlights in a much more natural sort of looking way. And I really wanted to have a much more natural sort of look. I didn't want to have this sort of, although I really do appreciate and really enjoy orcs that are painted that way. And I like, someone, for a good example of someone whose orcs I really like and I'm so tempted to paint like, would be someone like Quarter Paint, where it's, the skin is very light in contrast to everything else being very dark. And I really like that. But then I also really wanted to this time try my best at trying to go for something with a bit more realism and not such sharp highlights. So I'm hoping that this method will be worth it, and I don't have to add too much in the way of extra highlights afterwards. Once I've just should have to just glaze on each color just once, and that should be it, you know.
Yeah, but I think we're sort of hitting on a point where there's no one way to paint orcs.
No, definitely not. No,
There's
I've tried many
plenty
different
of
ways
ways.
over my years. In fact, I was thinking about on the channel doing, and I will. In fact, it's on my list there. One of the things I've never crossed off any list, it was to do orc skin 5 ways or even 10 ways, and just show, several different ways that you could do orc skin and show how it looks.
We're getting quite a lot of suggestions in the comment section as well. We have Boxy saying that your green looks good. I don't worry about my orcs all being the same skin color, though. I figure there would be different shades of green, like humans are different skin colors. He's saying Spud from Chillin' Wargamers does the nice orc skin tones too. Spud does some absolutely cracking work when it comes. We have Gubbins Gets a saying Jojo Man has some pretty good tips tutorials on his channel too. It's true. It's true. There's a plethora of tutorials on how to paint up orc skin, and this is the thing. Like there's so many ways to do it, and then you may like the way that somebody does their orc skin, and then tweak it a bit yourself and make it your own. So feel free to go out there and explore different skin colors. You know what I mean? Have a bash, experiment, find what you really like, and once you find a skin tone that you really like, I think it really helps in regards to actually painting stuff, because that sort of, I think that really held me back for a really, really, really long time, is I didn't find a skin color I was very happy with.
Yes. Yeah, and skin is such a fundamental thing to orcs. Like once you've decided you're doing an orc army, even if it's the second or third time you're doing an orc army, each time I think it's really important decision. You sort of have to go, right, so what shade am I going with? What aesthetic am I going with? Because there are many different aesthetics you can paint orcs. You can really go for, so many. There's just hundreds. I keep looking myself. I've been looking myself just lately at a lot of skin. It's all I've been thinking about for the last week is orc skin, and looking at old examples. In fact, on my camera there, right. I've got the ones I'm working on at the moment there, but I'll show you. Like here's another orc from a long while back that I painted a couple of, I don't know, about 3 or 4 years ago. Completely different style. That was painted in a more traditional layering style. Yeah, I like it. It's all right, but it's not what I'm going for this time. And then I've got some that are actually this is from the first time I ever got into orcs. So much more darker skin tone. I think looking at Steve-O's orcs, I think he's got a very dark green skin tone like that. His highlights are much better than that, of course, but I did that when I was a kid. But his is a sort of a dark green. And that's another sort of a dark green, but not the same. But what I'm going for this time is something a little bit more, I don't know, amphibious green looking, I suppose you could say. Something a little bit more, something like I've seen naturally things that are alive in that sort of green. Mind you, see things alive in every green. That's the beauty of green, isn't it? I love green.
I know what you mean. So you're trying to aim in away from that sort of cartoony looking color, and you're going more for a neutral sort of tone. Is that
would
that be the way to describe it?
Yeah, that'd be right. Yeah, I'm gonna try and even like put little freckles, like slight yellow or light coloured freckles under the skin, that sort of thing. I'm gonna try and do little delicate touches like that on things.
Nice. It's always good. The approach I take with the orcs, I came up with like a color palette that I liked for the orc boys, and then what I did was I shifted the tones darker for the knobs, and then I shift the tones lighter for the Gretchen. But they all share some color. So like the base color
Yeah.
for
I like your green. I do. Yours is one of the greens that I do very much like. I was looking at the pictures of your army as well. Looking at both yours and Steve-O's and just seeing what my competition looks like.
always that competitive streak.
Well,
I love it.
it's also just imagining, seeing my army against other people's, like thinking, oh, I want them to look good together because they're going to feature together quite a bit, So, and I want to put an effort into my army, but also want it to look like, they're going to fit in together as well,
I like the backhanded insult by my omission.
Well, speak up. What's it
You
say?
ain't-
What do they
you
say
ain't
up the north?
done-
Shy Burns getting out.
No, I was just on about like Dread's like, oh, I checked out the competition of the four of us. No mention of Dim. No mention.
Dim has not actually showcased anything really, has he?
Well, I have.
Painting wise.
Just a couple of things. I'm the sneaky git that's like just gonna sort of sneak up on everyone and then just on at the last minute just go whole army.
That'd
be me, mate. That'd be me.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I'm getting
the
all
shadows
the,
all
I'm,
this
I'm
time,
getting.
and then boom, done.
If I get this green figured out, I'm getting all of my boys, all of them lot. They're all getting done tonight. All of their skin. I will stay up until that's done.
Get all the skin done in one go?
Yeah. If I get this green right, then yes. So that's why I'm cracking on with that now. I'm gonna get making my skin.
Do you hear that, everyone? There's a contract.
Doing it right now. Just gonna write down the different ratios as I go.
I think I've learned my lesson of 2020. It's under promise and over
accomplish.
That's it. Yep, that's the one.
Yeah.
Even I forgot how to say
Magic.
it. Yep.
I'm always being told to do that.
Definitely. I think I'll be keeping it stum in regards to, I'll get this done. I'll get that done.
I'm very dedicated to spending my Christmas period after I've spent a week with Miguel having Christmas. She's maybe going over to Germany for a week or two, so I'm going to spend that time painting and actually.
So you're going to be doing a few streams then, are you? Streams you're painting? Nice.
Oh yeah.
There you go. That's something for people who are free over the Christmas period. You can pop in and check out Dread's streams. Like I said, there's a link in the description below if you're not already subscribed, which you should be.
Should be by now.
Should be. Decent Snuggoot is saying you do know Vance has an episode on green.
Oh yeah.
Essex Boys was saying he's gone from grimdark to cartoon green and back again.
I do like cartoon green. I will say I really do, and I think I've got some miniatures that, particularly like I love freebooters. Yeah, it's a thing I really love, a theme I'm in love with. But at the same time, with this particular army that I'm painting now, they're desert dwellers, they're sort of Mad Maxy. So there is going to be a few pirate heads and a pirate theme to them to a degree, but it's be subtle. But I've got some miniatures that are really not subtle in their pirate theme, but I love them. But I'm gonna paint them in a much more cartoony style because I want to show range in my cabinet anyway. I don't care about having everything to be in my army. Not everything is going to be for my army. Some things will be just for display, and other things will be for that regular use army that I'm talking about, my throwdown army. So that'll be much quicker.
So you're going for 2 armies?
Yeah, I'm gonna do this army, the one I'm painting, my main army, my beautiful army that I've done all my work and hard graft converting, and then I'll do my throwdown army, which will be one that I'll get done after this. I've decided I'll dedicate to this one first because I said I would, and then because Steve and me were talking, he's like, "No, get them ones done. You've put a lot of work into them." I'm like, "Oh yeah, no, fair enough." So I'm gonna do these, and then I'm gonna do a 2,000 point quick, or 15 and 2,000 point quick army. Just show how quick I can actually put an army together and paint it if I mean to do that.
Yeah,
they make good content for the channel. It's like how to speed paint. versus how to do something else.
Yeah, different techniques, and then you can do different skin colors. But I like what you're saying about painting up other pieces as well. I think that would be cool. Do you know what I mean? It's like I have a blood axe army, but then it'd be nice to get other pieces that aren't part of the army typically and paint them up. So like do maybe like an evil son's bike or something like that. You know what I mean? I don't think everything has to be for your army. You can
Exactly.
enjoy other bits and pieces. What metals are you going with there, Dim?
I haven't decided yet, but well, it's probably going to be the classic. I've got a particular system that I use for painting metal, I suppose, but I might vary it up a bit. I haven't decided, but normally what I'll do is I'll go black undercoat, maybe a xenophil, maybe not. Then I do rough iron or tinny tin, whichever one's to hand. Tinny tin is the game color equivalent, and it's basically the same.
I love not by the hairs on your tinny tin tin.
Well, it's because it's basically tin bits. They're both basically tin bits. The old GW paint. And I do that, and then I'll pick out particularly like checker plate, and I'll dry brush or paint on some orange, and then I dry brush lead belcher over the whole thing, and then I vary inks on different plates just to give it a little bit of variation. And then if I'm going to paint the metal an actual color, like a faction color, I'll paint that over all the metal effect that I've done. And it seems time consuming, but the color pops a whole lot better if you've done all the metal stages, because particularly if you use difficult colors like orange or yellow or especially red and blue particularly. Is the ones I've got experience of painting on. Really makes red pop. It's good for red. And normally when I paint, I have a lot of red on my Rebel Grot vehicles, but I don't tend to paint it on solidly. I tend to paint it like it's rusting off, there's barely any of it left.
So what do you go for then? Do you do layering techniques, or do you do stippling, or?
Layering and dry brushing largely, just because it's the way I learned to paint. And then when I'm painting something like say skin, I use a layering thing with mixing and washes. So
oh damn you, GW pots.
The main one that I use is, well, I'll tend to figure out two bases. So say maybe heavy green, necrotic flesh, and then that's my highlight. That's my base, and then I'll have a wash for intermediary stages, and I'll do a base of that. Then I'll do a base of that with a little bit of that. Then I'll do another mix on certain raised areas with 50-50 of that, and then 75-25 of that, and then ink, or the ink before the 75-25, and then a little bit of this at the end. But I don't think I'll use necrotic flesh. I'm not sure yet. I'm still playing around with slightly varying my Gretchen skin color because I don't have the exact paints. So I've been thinking about various paints to use.
So
and
you
I
try
bought
to
some.
replicate the old one, or are you just trying to
Yeah, get as close as I can really, because I think it was it was Catachan green and the foundation zombie skin color were the ones I used, I think. So
sure there's probably a substitute out there somewhere.
well, I found a few sort of potentials. I keep meaning to have a look at the coat arms to see if they've got their direct foundation equivalents, although I probably doubt it.
More comments in the paint section. Mostly saying I've been doing the official GW recipe, which is okay. Garth, aka the epic narrator, has been painting them in a traditional goblin green wash then highlighting with Goblin Green and added yellow highlight. Yeah, he's painting some of the old school miniatures. They look cool. Brack was saying I just use the closest screens at hand and hope for the best. Then I swear because I'm supposed to be painting Ultramarines. Oh, don't be painting Smurfs, Brack. The only blue you're allowed to paint is the looted type of blue. Richard is saying, I used to use inks mixed with a clear varnish to make contrast colours years ago. Base colour from white to yellow with black green ink with varnish made a nice range of effects. Oh, very nice. Orc stuff is saying yellowy brown base followed by greeny brown oil wash. Orc stuff. Yeah. I've seen your painting technique and you know your sculpting's very signature. How's the scrubbing of the black soot off of the miniatures going, Orc stuff? Have you had much success? Surely you'll get away with a bit of weathering on the Orc boys. Slev is saying I've had to change my colours 3 times over time. Thankfully, I can get it close enough that I can get more variation with the same paints than between paints. Yeah, I can understand, especially if you've been like a long-term player and you've been just using only Games Workshop paints. I think that would be the one thing I would advise people if you want to have some continuity over time, like the likes of Vallejo and such. That's one of the reasons why I switched over to them is I didn't want to have a paint that I liked and then the paint line gets changed again. Now, I don't mean to be negative. I'm just sort of ensuring myself for future reference.
Scar, I got this, fam. So, GW was shit because they do that. There we go. I've covered you. I'll be the negative one. You continue.
No, it's all right. But I think if you've been with them long enough, you know that they painted their changed their paint line over a long enough time, and then the colors don't.
But never their
always,
pots.
Yeah, the colors don't always quite match up. So if you're looking for some longevity, that's one of the reasons why I started switching to Vallejo and AK and whatnot. I'm not saying don't use Games Workshop paints. There's still some great Games Workshop paints that I use. The Etonian camo shade, I still use. There's a few of the reds are nice. I use a lot of the reds, like corn red, and even the skin colors that I use from Orcs are still GW skin colors because I experimented with them. You know, so just pick and choose. But if you're looking for longevity on core colors, I would suggest going with paint suppliers whose job, their shtick is paint. So like the Army Painter or Vallejo, their whole thing is they're painting companies. You know, you're gonna get some longevity out of them, especially if you're using like model colors and whatever else. Some of those things are, you know, older than me. They're pigments. It'll help you instead of having to chase down a color. Because I do know quite a few people who've been like, oh, I used to use this specific color. They don't make it anymore. You know, and then trying to mix up paints. I'm not really a paint mixing type of chap myself. Just for ease, I'm not too. I just throw paint on miniatures and hope for the best. You know what I mean? I don't think of like color wheels. I probably should do. And color theory and all this type of stuff. I'm just like, throw paint on it. Does it look decent? Yeah, go for it. You know?
That's how GW gets you with the convenience.
Well, that's it. You do pay for convenience, but that's the same with everything in life. You always pay for convenience. You know? There's a market out there for pre-sliced pineapples, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, mate, you can buy a pineapple for like a quarter of the price. Ah, yeah, but, you know, then I have to slice it. All right, fair enough. We always pay, you know, we'll always pay for convenience. Weird boys here. What's the crack? Poke saying dim negative. Is the sky blue? No. We just, you know, criticism where criticism's due. For longevity in paint lines, I think Games Workshop wouldn't be the best choice. But
probably the worst choice.
Some of their paints are pretty good still.
This is what they're talking about, mate. That's what they're talking about right there.
Just wish Vallejo paint codes didn't wear off so easily. Have you been rough? Have you been manhandling more stuff? Have you? Throwing them around the place? I haven't had that issue with them yet. And hopefully I don't. But I do like some of their The opaque colors. That's your fault, Dim. You were like, oh yeah, you should try out these extra opaques. I'm like,
Because they're
ooh,
fucking great and
They are.
everybody should have them.
they're brilliant. They are.
Which
Like,
ones are they? Sorry.
The extra opaque game colours.
Oh,
So
I'm not any of those yet.
I did my. I think I even did some of my Blood Bowl guys in that color there. Oh look, I've got a green screen. I can't show you green miniatures. Yeah, it's the extra opaques are nice. They really are. I think I even used some of
that
the
green that I've used on there, you can unfortunately see the mold line really well. I'm not going to be happy about that, but I don't care at this point. I'm just decided I'd rather have paint on it rather than let
So
it
the
sit
base
there and
colors on this but here I think are done in the extra opaque colors as well. That's like the base is done in some of them, and I think even the red, and then I've gone up in obviously he's not finished, he still needs washes and stuff, but he's done in some of them as well. They're pretty cool.
they've got that thing that you've got with Vallejo, which is that like they don't really need watering down all that much, unlike some of GW's paints.
Yeah.
They've got a very consistent sort of coverage level for most of the paints.
Well, I was talking with
the
Tanya.
extra
And
opaques,
some of the lights are a bit hit and miss. Some of the light colors of
Mm.
Vallejo. Let's be
Yeah.
fair. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Some of the light colors can be a bit watery, or the coverage can be a bit shite in them. But like the extra opaques, yeah.
Yeah, but the extra opaques are probably the best sort of like GW base equivalent that you're going to find with a thin coverage. Some of them are a bit thick and they need a little bit of toning down to an extent, but you can pretty much paint them straight out of the bottle. Particularly if you're transferring them to a wet palette, you don't need to do anything. The wet palette will do all the watering down you need for it.
Orc stuff is saying now I made the mistake of picking them up and putting them down again. Ah, yes. It's the story of my hobby, mate. Oh, I really should get this done onto next project. Half do that onto the next thing. You're in good company in that regard, my friend. You're definitely in good company in that regard. Tony and camo shade. So you're literally writing down the ratios as you're going along now, Dread.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that to match that.
Ah, I see.
I know I put those colours in, I just don't know the ratios. So, and I think there's a little bit of yellow in there that I haven't accounted for, which is probably what's making all the difference. It looks like it needs a little bit of yellow to me, so I might pick a yellow out to add to that.
It'd be cool if we had like little paint machines for do you ever see when they mix up the pots? And it'll just like they'll type in a color and the machine will quantify the different pigments. Like if they go into a DIY shop.
That'd be so good. Imagine if there was a place like that where you could just go and visit and you can spend a day just picking out the colour that you want, making your own colour, and then have it made up in as much as you want. They save it on their hard drive or whatever, and anytime you order, boom, they just send you your colours. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Little paint machine, isn't that what sort of hobby dads do when they get one of their kids and they've got those precious years between 4 and say 8 when they'll paint for you?
Oh well, that I think that's more sort of like sweatshop paint production line, where it's right. You just teach the kid how to do base coats, and then you're sorted. It's like, right, son, you're just painting green for the next 2 days. Off you go. I'll do the rest. This is why I was laughing when people were taking the piss and they're like, oh, you could do like a base coating service for painting and assembly. I'm like, that might actually work. You know what I mean? Some people would be like, oh, well, he's done all the base colors for me. I'll just do the highlights and the washes and away we go. You know? That would be hilarious. It's like you're still painting your miniatures, kind of. That would be funny. Doing all the heavy lifting. Liking the variation. I find it weird putting this prime rust on it because it goes on very light and then it dries much darker. So I think a few layers of this will hold on. I'll try and show you what it looks like without wrecking it too much. It's coming along.
Oh, that's coming a lot closer now.
Well, yeah, even like just look at the difference that does to the miniature.
I meant my green. Sorry. So closer to the one I was
In
trying
a
to guess.
world of his own over there, Dread. Nothing new. Absolutely nothing new.
Oh yeah.
They say this is every War Bosses the Apocalypse recording since the dawn of time.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Doing his
Sorry.
own thing. Forget the rest of us.
All right, no, I'm happy with that. That would do actually. He says.
Mostly Zen is saying I have so many half-done things. It's like, don't even start me. You'll remind me of how many projects I don't have done or finished.
And then I can just all my sweet summer child, literally any of you, with the amount of unfinished projects.
So what? Okay then. So if that's a bit of a thing that we have a lot of unfinished projects, what has been the thing that has motivated you to finish something? Because
I do is actually has been a bit of it. Seeing him actually get his army painted and up on as a video done, I was like, oh geez, I best crack on with this, hadn't I?
all right. So you have like a
Well, I
competitive.
don't want to let you guys down. You know, like I know I want to play against you guys, and I really don't want to be like that one guy that just didn't do anything. You know,
Yeah.
like, so I want to do it. I want to.
I mean, I'm
be out.
I'm particularly not receptive to peer pressure.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. Like, I think I'm more like Dim, where it's a case of if I'm challenged or something like that, I just won't care. You know.
Yeah.
Some people sort of thrive on that type of thing, but for me personally, I know I'm like that. I'm like I lose interest then.
Yeah.
It's odd, being motivated to paint. I kind of have to be in the mood for it, and motivated, and I don't know where that comes from. It could be anything. Like
Very
even
much
when you were talking about Dawn of War, like I've been playing Dawn of War, and I've been thinking, oh, it'd be nice to make a project like that. Ooh, it'd be nice to paint these up, or do up an army like this and that, or just do a playthrough, or so I can see like where shared inspiration comes from as well. You know what I mean?
For me, it's that I really do want to be involved in stuff, and I don't want to miss out. You know, there's the kid in me. I just don't want to miss out. So you guys have all got an army done and you end up doing battle reports, then I miss out if I ain't got my army done. So that's sort of my motivation, is I want to be involved.
Good old FOMO.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean, yeah.
Because a former friend used to make kind of like my capacity or incapacity to paint miniatures for his multitudes of endless projects. I used to make the condition of whether or not I'd painted the stuff or not, like far more important than whether or not the game itself was enjoyable, and would like literally say, "Oh, the whole thing's ruined," simply because everything's not fully painted. Simply because he could paint quickly, and to be blunt, the reason that he could paint quickly is because he's dog shit, and he literally can't paint to save his life, and everything that he paints always looks awful. No wonder he can paint quickly.
That's not right.
And I mean, he particularly did this whilst I was going through a very rough period of my life where I had incredibly low motivation and could not be bothered. Like crippling depression, and then your mate who's trying to get you out to do things is like, well, I'm going to say you're a hobby loser if you don't, reach my expectations. And then the few times I did it anyway, he would critique my paint job, and I was just like, seriously, you critiquing my painting?
Well, like I'm going to shit talk about all of your painting, and I expect it back.
Yeah, but the thing is, Dredd, is that you're being playful. He was being fucking serious. That's the difference.
I'm already thinking of names for. I see Steve the other day. I was like, the mustard, what? The mustard bustard. Or something. I was trying to think of
Colonel Mustard's Brigade.
yeah, I was just trying to think of a cheesy name I can give him so I can taunt him all the time.
I mean, Colonel Mustard. That's got to be the. It's got to be the start of it. Just want to watch him if he's got a candlestick.
Stay out of the pantry for the love of Gork. Oh, that would be funny, man. Anyone who's not played Cluedo has no idea what we're talking about.
Or for the Americans, Clue. We're talking about Clue.
Oh, it's a different name there as well.
They call it Clue, yeah. The only reason I know that is because
Why is it no?
there's a film of the game. It's a very, very good film, actually. It's got Tim Curry in it. It's really, really good film. It's very funny. But there is a film based on the board game, and it's called Clue because obviously in America that's what they call it, and for some reason in Britain they call it Cluedo.
I don't know why we get the extra O. It's a bit odd, but then it sounds like it deserves an O because it's a game.
I think it's to do with British IP law because British IP law seems to have this funny thing about you can't really go with mundane nouns for product names. Like the guy who invented the football flicky game that you can play is called Subutio. And he wanted to call it the hobby, and he couldn't, so he called it Subutio, which is the Latin name for the bird, which is called the bird, and the bird's a particular bird, and that bird's English name is hobby. So he called it Subutio after the hobby bird, but it's still called. It's effectively as close as he could get to calling it the hobby in Latin, basically.
Do you know what you're going to be good for? Pub quizzes, mate.
Yeah, I am devilishly good at pub quizzes. If I may say so myself.
I expect to see him on an episode of The Chase in the coming year.
I'd really like to go on Pointless. That's the one I'd like to go on because I retain completely useless information, which is quite good for that show.
But the question is, who would you go on with, though?
That's a good question.
Pointless asking me.
Well, at least he's honest. I'd be no use to either. So that leaves Steve-O.
Nah.
Just a flat nah. Sorry, mate.
That's the thing. We can roast him all day, and he's probably not going to be watching this.
Oh, no.
So
he's off living the high life. Fair play.
It's just like free shots. Why aren't we taking this opportunity?
Well, I was trying, but then you got all serious and started talking about bullying and stuff, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but these things happen. Like that is part of the hobby. It's sort of don't let others dictate your hobby for you. You know what I mean? Because I think that can happen if you're too agreeable. You know, there has to be some.
I've never been in a rush to be agreeable. That's probably my problem.
Well, this is it though. But you have to be to some extent because of the type of game it is. It's a social game, so you have to be agreeable to some extent, and it's reciprocal. So, like, if you and your local mates play games, and then like you want to play a specific game, and nobody else really wants to get into it, well, then you come to the middle ground where it's like, right, okay, we'll all play this game with you. If you play this game with me, and it's like, oh well, all right, grand, we'll do that sort of thing where it's reciprocal. Where if it's not, and it's a case of people point blankly refuse to play anything beyond one game, it's like that isn't gonna fly for long. Someone will just get fed up with you, and then they'll get resentful, and then they'll not want to play anymore. You know, it's give and take. Like the hobby we're in, when it comes to the gaming aspect of it, it's give and take. That's an awful lot of it. As Tim was saying, the unspoken contract, social contract that we have. If Tim wants to explain that a bit more. Good night, Slev.
Well, yeah, it's just because it's a social activity, so you've got like a bunch of expected behaviors. It's that kind of thing of like Well, it kind of like give and take more or less covers most of it, but it's just like this, it's a game between two people. It's like it's not just you being sort of selfish. You've got to kind of find
And
that sort of mutual.
is in victory.
Yeah. Well, it's just that thing that we kind of do with like competitive games where you've kind of got to find a way that like you rely on like rules and social contracts to get by, because if you don't have those, then almost anything goes.
I find most orc players though tend to be really sound people because Dave, if you've been playing orcs for a while, you're used to losing, which takes a certain type of person anyway. Like you have to be okay with that. You have to be, fairly sound as a person to be able to just go, oh yeah, I hope I had fun though. Did you? Like you have to be a certain sort of person to play orcs. I think
Yeah.
usually the better sorts.
It just depends. I think like in a competitive scene, some people can work wonders with orcs, but I'd say the thing that
Oh,
you're
yeah.
hitting on
Yeah.
that I agree with, and the thing that I had to adjust with starting to play orcs was the taking handfuls of miniatures off every turn. I wasn't used to that, so I came from playing Space Wolves, because they were the first 40k army I had. And the thing that I had to really adjust with playing orcs was you're literally gonna be taking handfuls of miniatures off the table, but it's okay in that regard. You know what I mean? Like back in those editions, it was probably a bit more jarring. Whereas now, I think casualty rates are a lot higher in games of 40k. So it's it's more the norm, I think. But
Yeah.
for me, that was the thing I realized early on and I had to adjust to. I could gauge how well, when I played a lot back in fifth, I could gauge how well someone was doing against me by how many orcs they'd killed and by what turn. So if they don't, like, if my friend who I played in Period Guard, who I played a lot against, if he'd only killed like 15 or 20 orcs in the first turn, I'd be like, oh, you're not doing too well there, mate. You know what I mean? I'd be able to gauge how the game is going just by my casualty rate. And it, just
leave enough alive, they're gonna swamp you.
yeah, well, this is it. It's like I expect. I've started the game where this many turns in, I expect to have this many casualties. So it's like turn two, I expect to probably have like 50 to 60 casualties, depending on your list, of course, as well. So if you're going, I'm talking primarily horde, getting used to playing the green tide with orcs and getting used to taking miniatures off the table, by the fistful, and then gauging it. Obviously, that's going to be a bit different if you're going elite and you do like full battle wagon rush and you're doing mega knobs and all that type of stuff. But even then, you're going to have to get used to a certain attrition.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What was the thing you found you had to adjust to the most, or some of the things you found the hardest to play in regards to orcs?
I don't know. I found I didn't really find it all that difficult. I think the weird thing is that, I mean, granted, I found it difficult to play them a little bit in 7th edition, but that was more to do with the fact that the game wasn't even remotely balanced at all. So that was the issue that I had. Whereas sort of like 4th edition, 3rd edition, 5th edition, I found that Grots sort of synced with me quite well. See, I'd kind of done the same thing as you, Scar. I'd been playing Space Marines for years and like picking elite armies. But the thing is that I used to kind of go a little hoardy with Space Marines. Even like I used to take like lots of infantry. Like I used to avoid taking toys. I used to just kind of just like have lots of infantry, and I tended to favor assault as well, which was
Same here.
kind of weird for a Space Marine. I didn't go Space Wolves though, but I always toyed with the idea of using a Space Wolf Codex to represent them. But I really liked. The thing is that I moved over to like other games in sort of 5th edition, I didn't play an awful lot of 40k, and I'd been playing other games, and like, oh, that's another thing. Like Warhammer Fantasy, I was almost exclusively a Skaven player. So like, I think the idea is that at some point I just fell in love with hordes. And yeah, it is. I suppose it is an adjustment getting used to taking the whole models off. But I went straight into the deep end and took grots. But then again, you know, that had preceded years of me chucking like units of Skaven slaves, a chaos and stuff, you know. So like in fantasy, so I've always liked the idea of the horde army. So the thing that I found particularly difficult about sort of doing orcs is that you like getting used to the idea. Well, it may be just an issue with my army, but it almost always seemed like with orcs you kind of need 2 or 3 solutions for the same problem, and you normally like tickling a couple of units. You're tickling a target with a couple of different units, and then you've got something else to deliver the hammer blow to finish them off. And I think that was the biggest sort of adjustment I had, because like they have quite a lot of a ubiquity if you take the right units, especially now. But I don't know. It just seems like with Space Marines, you didn't really have to have that kind of issue because tactical could do so much. You know what I mean? So it's just
They're good all rounders, Marines. Yeah.
yeah. Some orc units are sort of fairly solid all rounders, but the problem is with orcs is that every unit's got a trade off. So the trade off immediately makes them weak in certain areas. So in that respect, if you try to go all eggs in one basket with orcs, you're not going to do well at all, because they're most of their units are dead easy to kill, for one thing.
If you put all your eggs into one basket, like you're doing one build, I think the War Mistress Tanya was saying to me she was thinking about doing a competitive list like that, where it'll be, if you're going putting all your eggs in one basket, it'll go big either way. You'll either win big or you'll lose big. You know, and that in and of itself could be a laugh. I could see the entertainment in that. I really could.
See, I used to run like a grot army. It was kind of stressful to play because it was in the editions where it worked, it was all about, right, I've clutched at that straw, here's the next batch of straws. I was spending every turn just kind of like certain things had to fall into place. But the core sort of strength of the army, sort of 3rd edition, 4th edition, 5th edition, was that 120 grots is hard to ignore. But the amount of points that they amounted to was minuscule. So like I basically had about the amount of bodies that a Green Tide would have, and they were just as not, you couldn't ignore them, because like if you let them live, they would walk towards you, and then whole lot of diddly point blank range. I'm rolling so many dice, I'm gonna kill something, and you can't afford to take that risk. So like I used to get quite a few opponents just by the fact that they would focus on the grots, but the grots were half the cost of Orc Boys. So I would have so many toys, big guns, grot tanks, cans, death copters, even the odd truck boy unit, looted wagons, you name it. Even mega knobs and a war boss, and they would do the damage, they would do the work. The grots were just there to kind of go, you can't ignore these, good luck killing them, because I've stuck a KFF in the middle just to annoy you. So good luck with that. And I got very, I was so jammy with custom force field saves in a number of games, and people hated me for it. It was great.
I'd say the thing I have trouble with is just deciding what to focus on. You know, there's so many things I want to build and want to do with my orcs, and knowing what to, focus on. I think that's why I'm happy now that I've, you know, picked an army list and I'm actually working towards getting that done.
I think that's the way you get things done. Like, for a while, my Grot army just fell into an abstract because I didn't really know what I was going to do with them. So I bought things to make like half-ass project, but it was either for something like I didn't really care about that much, like say Kill Team, or like maybe just some models, and it was just like, that's a cool idea, but I kind of need the context of the game to give me the reason to finish that thing off. That's what I've always needed, which is part of the reason why when people say, oh, you know, you don't need to complain about the fact that these options have been taken away, you can just use count as, and count as has never felt satisfying to me. Like, I've got to feel the impact of the thing that I've done and made in the game. I need that. I need that payoff for doing the work.
Yeah, I get you. It's a real pain to go to the effort of converting something, say like a particular type of mech gun, for example, or something like that, and then have them just, you know, removed. And people are like, oh, you can just use it as this, or you can use it as that. It's like, yeah, I know I could, but it's not really what I built it to be.
So do you find that gameplay is a large anchor in directing your hobby? So what you are and aren't allowed to use in game, that would have a massive motivating factor in what
Yeah,
you want to build and what you want to paint.
yeah, I'd say so. Yeah,
Well, yeah, and I find it in a similar way because, like, for me, like when you generally sort of a creative type who comes up with all sorts of ideas. Occasionally, you can have an idea that's good enough that it's worth doing on its own. Like, say, when I made that Skeletor for a laugh, this is probably one of the few projects that I finished. I just did. I completed it in like 2 days just because I was like, I got all the bits together and I was just like, this is going to be awesome. And it got painted and everything. And I think the thing that really sort of drove that and the thing that made that really work and work pretty well was just the fact that, like, when, like, for that it was just a justification in of itself. But if I'm trying to be creative within the hobby itself, particularly to like army themes and things like that, the rules are the structure. They're the structure that you need. They're the kind of thing of like, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to represent, and that's a goal to aim for. Whereas if you don't have any of that structure beforehand, you just kind of, when you have too much freedom, you're probably not going to get anything done, or at least
same
you.
way for third-party sculptors. You know, they know that if they focus on something that is in the rules and is being used in game, then that product is much more likely to sell. There's so many really cool orc miniatures out there, like vehicles and special characters and that a lot of people don't buy. They're not popular sales compared to other items that are more usable in game. I think, you know, a lot of third party companies would tell you that, I'm sure, that, you know, their sculpts that they did for fun or for you know, a particular theme or something they had going on, I bet they don't sell half as well as the things that, you know, are multiply usable as game items. So it will restrict what people do creatively, you know, both, you know, fans and sculptors that make for fans.
Part of the reason why I've decided that largely I'm now going to play almost exclusively first edition, second edition, third edition, and fourth edition for 40k, with the odd game in the modern game, but very much turning my back on Games Workshop's sort of current company and ethos and stuff and their products, simply because if I go to like third edition or fourth edition, second edition or first edition, like I'm probably not going to play much first ed, by the way, because it's terrible. But certainly like having, I want all the books for it at least. But the thing is that if I want to do a project and it's going to be a long burn one because it's not something I've got a major priority on, I can put it to one side, knowing that when I finally get around to it, the thing that I'm building towards is never going to change because it's fixed. If I play fourth edition, I know what the options are. The options ain't changing.
Oh, that's true.
and
That's
and if
true.
they are changing, it's because I'm adding new ones, and like I can do what I like.
That's true of 9th edition. They can say, or 8th edition. Just play them ones if you like.
Yeah,
them
but the problem with those ones is that, well, for one thing, I don't like them, and for
Yeah.
another thing, like the
That's-
problem is as you get closer to modern, people just want to do the most up to date version because you're dealing with the players who they're going to be weighing up. Do I want to play this older version of the game with this one person as a pickup game and potentially threaten my knowledge and experience and ability to play the modern game? Or am I going to eschew playing a slightly more recent version of that game with them so that I can have pickup games with more people who are playing the current game? That's the problem with going for something like 8th. Like the thing that I noticed was if I went back one edition, I'd get pushback. Whereas if I go back 2 editions or 3 editions, it's different enough that people are willing to try the odd game of it. So like and also 4th edition was the last time that, to my mind, 40k was good. So it would be I certainly wouldn't want to go back any sooner than that. Because once you get to 5th edition, a certain writer becomes prominent. So
not saying no names.
Spiritual liege alert. Wah, wah, wah. Let's go have a look at the comment section. We have Jude Ashbury who's here. What's the crack, Jude, bud? I apologise. Me and Steve-O seem to, for some reason, see your name and think, it's a board. No, it's not. It's not. Sorry, Jude. How are you, dude?
it's the Beatles' fault.
It is the Beatles' fault. You are
However, Hey Jude is addressing a boy because the song's written to Jules, not Jude, and Jules is John Lennon's son. And Paul McCartney slightly changed the lyrics because he realized that basically he was criticizing John Lennon for being a crap parent. So he slightly changed the word so it wasn't so obvious. Anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
I tell you, man, pub quiz knowledge. If I'm looking to build a team, you're the first one I'm coming to them. Navani showed up ages ago. What's the crack?
Hey, Nav.
Rivets and Daka had to head off. Take it easy, bud. Decent saying, to be honest, I do this more for the crafting, but I do wish I could get a few more games in from time to time. We were talking about what motivates us in regards to playing the game and getting hobby done. Mostly Zen was saying he hasn't played the game in about 10 years. Loving the craft and painting and lore, though. Jude's going. It's time for me to take it. Take it easy, Jude. Take it easy, bud. The drunken orc. Yeah, he showed up as well. What's the story?
But
mostly Zen is saying I could lend one Gargant to the other side to even things out. Yeah, we should have a meetup after the plague is over for sure, he's saying. Zen, mostly Zen. If you're gonna play a big game or a big apocalypse game, I think that's the one thing I've learned over the years. If you're gonna be playing a big game and you're gonna have a big Gribbly on one side, you need to have an equivalent sized big Gribbly on the other side. And pretty much how the game plans out is they have a duel and a battle goes on around them, because if you don't do something like that, it can be very one-sided in that regard. I've seen it. I used to run quite a lot of apocalypse battles with friends back in the day, and we noticed that happened quite a lot as well, where someone would bring, like,
back that up because I was at most of them.
Well, even before that, mate. I mean, like 4th edition, 5th edition. But even then, when we went to the Orc meets, it was the same thing, where we'd need something of equivalency across the board. That's why when I was helping to organize them near the end, I was like, right, who has a big miniature? So like, who has a Gargant and who has like the custom crawler? You know what I mean? That's why Orc stuff and DJ were nearly always against each other, because they had some of the biggest creations on the table, and the idea was to get them to fight against each other. And I think when we started doing the likes of that, it works out better because you don't end up with some poor sod who has a green tide going up against an orc gargant and just getting
Yeah.
creamed.
Yeah.
You know, you're trying to kind of balance things out a bit, but definitely if someone's gonna have a warlord titan, then try and organize it so that the other side has a warlord titan too. I think the game does be so much better for it once that happens. It does take a little bit of organization and care and thought, but I like when it comes to big games like that, I personally find they become a much better experience for everyone involved because it's like the centerpiece as well. Could you imagine like two massive titans going fucking toe to toe and tearing chunks out of each other in the middle of the battlefield while the battle's raging around them? Like it's narrative. It builds that scene. You know what I mean? For me, I think it's brilliant. Whereas, oh yeah, a warlord titan showed up and just like vaporized 300 orcs.
Yeah.
You know, for me, that doesn't just seem as cool. It doesn't make as awesome a story. Whereas if, a warlord titan and a greater gargant are tearing absolute chunks out of each other to the end, and one of them goes super critical and blows up and takes half the bleeding battlefield with it, I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I'm on the same page as you there.
Navani's like, what? You want the game to be even? How dare you? Well, it doesn't even have to be even. It just, have a duel. You know what I mean? Balance things out to be fighting against each other a bit more. Just it's something I've personally discovered as I've helped organize big games. And now that I think about it, I've helped organize quite a few. Is to have that sort of aspect to it, and it makes the game so much better. It really does. I think I'll put a wash on this guy. I'm not too sure. Getting the base rust done. This base coat is fucking awesome, by the way.
What's that you're using? Which one is it?
AK Interactive primer rust. So I primed them in like the Vallejo Black, but I decided to try something different, and I'm like stippling on this primer rust. So it's not a consistent coverage.
I haven't used any of that AK stuff yet. I'm gonna have to give them a
it's really
try
good.
because
I use that one. I use the same stuff.
I'm thinking I'll put a wash over it and then I'll go over
Use
in
it
other
even
rusts.
There's another one that you can get from. There's an AK one and MIG one. So I use one's darker and one's lighter. So I use the two to go from one tone to
Bit of variation.
a lighter tone on vehicles because it's a rust color.
Well, even if you only have the primer rust, I find like it goes on very light and then it dries darker. So if you do like a sort of light base coat, and then what I've tried to do now is focus on the upper areas that you see with a bit more rust, and there's a bit of variation, tonal variation in it anyway.
give it a second.
Do a few layers. It looks nice. Jude is saying, hey Scar, I've made some custom rails for an orc that can vaporize a warlord titan. Nice, bud. Nice. We keep meaning to get like a community orc codex going, or even one for like apocalypse games when we do meetups, because I'm sure we'd all like to do that at some stage. Meet together up in maybe in Warhammer World, or maybe somewhere else if we all want to bring third party stuff and just do like an orky event. I'm sure that'll be on the cards eventually, and when I mean eventually, I mean like years down the line. With the plague going on, it's going to be it's going to be a while before something like that can happen. But I'm sure
if it's ever in Warhammer World, I'll have to bring that throwdown army that I was talking about. I won't be able to bring any of this stuff. It's got too much third party in it.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen.
The Pale Orc is saying the truck in inverted commas. Dread to see how big the battle wagon will be. I think he's giving you a stick over your truck. Yeah, honest, it's not a battle wagon, Gov.
Do people have truck with your truck?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I knew GB was going to do that. I knew there was going to be.
Look, it's their house, it's their rules. That's the way I've always viewed it. All right, we're guests there. They let us use tables for free. Yeah, it can be a bit of shit, but when you're guesting someone else's house, you respect their rules. You know?
Mm,
I think that's reasonable enough. Wouldn't you agree,
well,
Tim?
to an extent, but it's just like,
I knew I wouldn't get a simple yes or no. Oh yeah.
oh yeah. Hello, have we met before? Yeah. I think like I'm not saying it's unfair of them to launch these rules, but I just think it's like it sets a kind of dodgy precedent, really. But I just always remember that absolute disapproval that staffer had, and I knew the second he was walking over, shaking his head, that like this was probably one of the last times we were going to get away with turning up with a bunch of stuff that we'd made from scratch. But at the same time, they created, like this is the same company that at one point had an article on how you made a grav tank from like a deodorant bottle. Like, like this is the same company that like for years upon end has been churning out Imperial Titans, but we just have the fucking Stomper. No Gargants, no Mega Gargants. Like nothing of the sort. But they want other factions to join in on like the Mega Battle thing. But Imperials have like all of the toys, and the Xenos have nothing because they can't be bothered to make anything.
Well,
So
if
we
you're gonna
make it.
say
So we
Xenos,
make it ourselves,
yeah.
and like they are so shamed by the fact that they couldn't be bothered to give us an alternative, and we managed to make something that looked half decent. That like, well, no, you can't get away with that. You can't do that. And I'm just like, well, which way is it? Do we have things in the law that should have models by now that maybe you should make so that we can actually experience those things in a game in Warhammer World? Or are you going to let us make our own thing if you don't sell it? It's just
the problem that we have is that if we want to be using a lot of third party stuff, you'd have to do a place of our own. We'd have to do an event of our own, and I think for the amount of freedom that we will want, that would be the thing that we'd have to do, is do our own event.
Yeah.
I don't think folk will have a problem with that.
No.
It's something that I think we all want to do. It's just a case of not right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I mean, I can fit like
Navani is saying, imagine Dim building a grot gant. Well, how big would a grot gant be?
Good question.
Grot? Yeah. So as a trash bin, you can kick it over.
The Drunken Orc is asking, what's Warhammer World's opinion on bringing your own scenery? I don't know, mate. You'd have to ask. I can only speak on experiences that we had.
People definitely have done it.
Yeah.
I think they're generally fine with it, but obviously they'll be fine with it, but they'll probably be like, I mean, again, it's probably going to be a thing of if you've made it from scratch or if you bring a third party thing, they might have an issue. Whereas if you bring like obviously GW stuff, they're not going to care.
Yeah,
they're probably going to come and admire it. The one thing I will say is that, like, generally speaking, my experience with the exception of one manager, my experience of Warhammer World staff has been overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, they're really cool.
They're really nice people, and a lot of them are on your side, if you follow me. Like there's a few of them that know that some of the pronouncements that management make from time to time are a bit ridiculous, and they know that you're just there to enjoy yourself, and they want to try and help that as best as they can. But obviously, they've got to do their job and not get fired. So there's, you can get an awful lot of sympathy out of them, even if they're not willing to admit it fully publicly. But like, when it comes to their policy, we haven't been back to Warhammer World since they had the "Thou shalt have 100% Games Workshop or not at all."
The thing that stopped us from going back has been we were due to go back in October, but like COVID, so it's like
Yeah.
we had tables booked and everything like, and it's not just a case of thou shalt only have 100% Warhammer, even though that's that's in there. That's more for like their official tournaments. It's not. Look, if you're going to Warhammer World, contact them yourself, because it's like most things in the customer support aspect of it. I've no complaints myself. They've been nothing but nice to us and let us play.
That said, I'm going to offer an alternative take here. I'm going to say, in my opinion, best option is to seek forgiveness rather than permission. Turn up with what you intend to use, regardless of what it is. And if someone comes over and say, sorry, you're going to have to remove that because it's X, Y, and Z violating the rules, just comply and feign ignorance.
That could be one approach. I have to say though, we've never been told in all the years that we've been going there with scratch builds and some third-party bits and whatever else.
I think that manager. I know I keep beating on about this guy,
but you really do keep beating on that stick. You should let go of it.
I think that manager wanted to do that to us, but didn't have the authority or the justification.
I'm sure he could have.
Whereas now he would, so he probably could do that.
I'm pretty sure he would have at this stage. If he wanted to, he could have chucked us all out. If he wanted to, he could have just told us to all bugger off, and there's nothing we could have done about it. And he didn't. And he didn't tell us to take our miniatures off. So, like I said, they're letting us show up and play on tables that they've made for us free of charge. I can't complain there. I just can't. I get your point, but I can't agree with it.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, you just book the tables. Now, they got rid of their booking system for a while, which was the only issue I've had with them in that regard. But they sorted that out eventually, and they make concessions for people if you get in contact. Because if
now it's free of charge, that's amazing. That's good.
Yeah, it's all it's free. You can go in, you can book your table. You don't have to pay for parking.
They didn't. I think they got rid of the table booking initially because they wanted to discourage people going just to play a game. What they wanted people to turn up and play a tournament.
Yeah, but you've no bases on that. If that was the case, they'd have no tables available for people to play without playing in tournaments.
Well, they said they were rolling back how many
big tables. Yeah, they were
scenery tables they had.
Bigger tables, but that's just like what's that based on? Anyway, Pale was saying about making rules. He's helped. Yeah, should have taken custom rules for the Guguts to be an orc equivalent to a greater demon when a named character, so we could have 3. Maybe. You're saying, hey Scar, I've made some custom rules. Yeah, you were saying that sick looking battle wagon, the truck, they're giving Dread stick about his truck again. Kick boy gear guts, Pale Orc is saying. Should have custom rules for it. Yeah, man. That'd be cool. Have him on a big battle. Yeah, and a lot of the gear gut stuff as well. I think we will just have to do an event of our own eventually. I'm gonna let some of this rust dry, and then I'm gonna decide on what base color I'm gonna try and do a skin, or I might pick another brown, or do you know what? I might do a wash. So I'm gonna let this base rust dry, and then I'm gonna do a brown wash. I think I have some of the Legos here. I'm going to give them a bash, and I'll have a ramble through the comments section.
Oh, yeah.
Navani's singing away. It's all about the money. It's all about the dum-dum-dum-dum. Good song. I remember that from years ago. That song reminds me of when I was a kid, and I was an extra on a TV show set with my brother, and it was a show called... I shit you not, it was by Fox Kids, I think. It was a show called The Mystic Knights of Tirnanog. And it was pretty much like, think of like Celtic Power Rangers. That was pretty much what it was. Go Google it on YouTube. It is hilarious. You'll find it.
I'm going to say that is the most Irish thing I think I've ever heard.
What, the Mystic Knights of Tirnanog?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, it was years ago. would have been like 20 odd years ago at this stage, I think, maybe more. The Drunken Orc Assassin. Does there have to be GW stuff, or can you bring your own build stuff? You can bring your own build stuff, Drunken Orc, but like we said, you have to hash things out yourself when you're going. Don't take the piss. Pretty much would be the best advice I could give you. Mostly saying, I reckon venues will be cheap once the plague lifts. We could hire a hall and a hotel. They used to do the UK Games Expo in a hotel in Birmingham before it moved to the NEC. Yeah, we could sort something out like that. I think it's not going to be an issue about getting somewhere. It's just going to be deciding where it'll be, where it's most convenient for everyone in that regard. Most likely, it'd have to be in the UK. I would hazard a guess. It all depends. You could do stuff in Ireland as well. It just depends how far people are willing to travel in that regard. We don't know. Like I said, it's all just up in the air at the moment. This is something that's just like super, super down the pipeline. But it's, still something we'd like to do. But Pale was saying he can help out with mission packs. That's cool, man. Yeah, like I said, we should probably have like an Apocalypse Codex going at this stage.
I was going to say, it'll probably end up being Britain-based, I assume. Just assuming that maybe Steve-O might pull the I've got Grots to take care of, it can't be too far away card.
Yeah. Well, that's got to be the same.
Which is fair enough, to be fair. I'm not trying to criticize. It's just, I just think that might be the deciding factor, very possibly.
Why not got people to visit in the UK whenever I'm over there anyway, so no
saying,
problem.
What would he do though if you told to leave and just said no, and then you left thousands of models on the table? That would just get awkward and messy, and police would be involved. And do you really want to be escorted off of the premises of somewhere because, no, that's a nice train of thought, but let's be honest, that's not going to happen.
An adult man thrown out of this.
Adult man thrown out of
hobby. Not put his toys away.
Hobby hall because he wouldn't put his toys away. The Vanny saying, but it doesn't say somewhere, and the models has to be about 75 GW and they're happy. I don't know, Navani. Like
they used to say that, and I believe now it's 100%.
We don't know is the true answer to that. We don't know. If you're going to Warmer World, you have to find out.
It says on their website their policy is that it's 100%. I believe. I haven't checked it in a while, so maybe they changed it again.
Vanny saying, Tiernan and Og, think it's a Song of Heritage. Yeah, Tiernan and Og was like, what is it, the land of the fairies or something like that? It's part of Ireland mythos, the oldie Irish Celtic mythos, back in the day. So it was that type of stuff.
If the Tuatha De Denon, I think I remember the name vaguely. And
Scott was saying, I've seen that show, and it was funny because they mention it on Titanic as it's going down. There's telling our kids the story of Tiernan and Og. Ah, all right, yeah.
Where is it?
Navani is asking, so it's up to the war bosses where the community crumple will take place, eh? There's nothing stopping you if you want to do like an Australian event or whatever. You know what I mean? Get the ball rolling, and I'm sure we'll happily promote you.
Yeah, man.
Try to get the word out. We're more than happy to promote, Orky events and members of the Orky community.
I was gonna say, it's a community thing, so it's not just this whole infrastructure that we've put up isn't just for our use. It's just obviously a lot of people tend to ask from time to time about whether or not we're meeting up for games and when it's going to be and stuff. So that's generally what we've been thinking about. But hey, if you guys want to do your own events, fuck yes, do it.
Yeah.
And we will promote the shit out of it if you want us to.
We did seriously have the ball rolling to have games played and have battle reports done this year, but 2020 went sideways very quickly.
I think it's likely that myself and Scar, the next time Scar's over, we'll be doing some kind of battle report. I think will definitely happen. Whether it's 40k is a question. It might be BattleTech and it might be Gaslands, because Me and Scar both love those games. Probably, I would say more than current 40k at least.
Well, yeah,
Um,
I think that's the thing with me at this stage is I'm happy to play different games. I'm not just focused on 40k, but I'll play 40k as well. So I'm all for having a bash. European dust. No, I don't want the European.
My
dust.
enthusiasm when it comes to 9th edition and 8th edition 40k is minimal. Very, very minimal.
Orc stuff made a very valid point. He said his Warhound is about 100% GW free and he didn't get thrown out of Lenten. Well, yeah, in fairness, Orc stuff, if they tried to remove you on the Warhound, they wouldn't have been able to move the bloody thing. But it is absolutely class looking. He's talking about his Warhound Titan inspired Orc Claw Stomper that was huge. If I remember correctly, did that not pick up the rock and roller Stomper and literally kill it and chuck it at a
It chucked it onto DJ's Plashammer Bad Moon tank
and killed it?
and blew the shit out of that as well.
That was amazing. See what I mean?
And
Like
then
about
just a
big
load of
things.
orcs just got deleted.
Yeah,
It was great.
Hilarious. It was brilliant. It was. They sound was carnage. I love that about Orc v Orc games is there's smiles all around. No one, you know what I mean? It's just the levels of carnage and destruction are just epic. They really are, and you get to see stuff that you wouldn't normally as well. So you're seeing gargantuan squigots, you're seeing kill tanks, you're seeing stompers, you're seeing guys who've made like custom rules. So one of the guys we have, DJ, he has a rule set called the custom crawler created, and it's for making super heavy tanks. And when I mean super heavy tanks, they're pretty much like structures on tracks. They're huge, like massive bloody things, and anyone can build them. You know, they're because we have the rules there, and we just sort of agree with ourselves. It's like, yeah, that's cool. Let's point it up, grand, no bother. And you know, using rules for stuff that didn't have rules anymore, like claw stompers and all that type of stuff. You know,
That's cool.
just having a bash with it, just having a laugh.
A laugh.
Poke was saying, just say everything is made of sprue. But that could be done. Navani is saying, sure, I'll plan a Swedish community gathering in Australia. Mate, look, if you manage to pull it off, fair play to you. Diesel was saying F2020. Yeah, I think we'd probably all agree with that. Brack was approving of Nav wanting to do an event in Australia. It would save him some time. Weird Boy saying he's looking forward to your 3.5 edition dim.
Oh God.
Well, you've said it now, so.
I'm fucking locked into this bloody thing now, aren't I? I was just thinking out loud about it to somebody. I could do that, and then all of a sudden, getting put in touch with several people who are wanting to do similar, and it's just like, oh, everybody's expecting me to do it now.
No, it's not that everyone's expecting you to do it. It's like collaborate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You were talking about Retro Hammer.
Yeah.
And then other people were talking about Retro Hammer, so I was like, well, why don't you all get together and like share ideas?
Oh, yeah. I've actually been thinking about it the other day. But yeah. The only thing I think is probably going to be a point of issue with it is that there might potentially be a civil war over whether or not the base game is 5th ed or 4th ed. Right now, I'm very much in the 4th ed camp. Not a big fan.
Civil War over which edition to use. I think I won't just coat this whole thing in like a layer of rust. What I'll do is I'll do like the washes in patches. I think that'll probably add more variation into the miniature. I think I'll try that. See how that comes along without looking too polka dotted. But yeah, Orky Civil War over which edition to use. That sounds amazing. Why not?
I mean, the answer is clearly 3rd and 4th. Everybody else just hasn't realised they're wrong yet. But, you know.
These are all just wrong. You just haven't realised it yet. That's all. Clearly. That's the problem there. There's a weird pong off of this stuff, but okay. I'll keep soldiering on. Pale Orc is saying I'm hosting a local tournament finally gone into March if COVID stays away long enough. Yeah, mate, I think, yeah, that's if it stays away long enough. I think at this rate we're looking for vaccinations for the Big C at this point, because that's what I'm holding out for, so I can actually get my ass over to the UK. Will be when they roll out a vaccination for the general public here in Ireland. I'll be signing myself up for that one. I will.
Britain's going straight in for it.
Why not?
People are already getting vaccinated.
Nice. I think they're rolling it out here for health workers first, and you know, they're prioritizing from what I gather.
I think the elderly are getting hit first over here.
Ah, yeah. Well, they need to. Let's be honest. We'll all get vaccinated, and hopefully this thing will dampen down to an extent where it's manageable. I don't think we'll ever totally get rid of it.
I heard from across the room was saying about hitting old people. What was that?
That's the point of the conversation that piqued your interest, was it?
It was. I was just making tea and I heard something about abusing old people from Dim. I was like, what's all this about?
He's turned to the dark side.
No, it's just saying OAPs in Britain are getting vaccinated first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about just like trying to get an event going, and then me pretty much coming to the realization where it's like, until there's a vaccine, you know, I probably won't be able to get my arse over to the UK at all.
I'm going to say Britain needs to put the foot down and get it done, because they got themselves high on the death chart. So, for reasons that entirely escape me.
Getting vaccinated.
Hashtag sarcasm.
He was in a COVID ward with a patient last week. It's 80 plus care home residents, care home staff, and frontline NHS force. Yeah, that makes sense, man.
Yeah.
Should be done with the second dose by the end of January, early February. Sweet. Good. The sooner we get this fucking thing behind us, the better. Happy fucking days all around. I think there's nobody who'll disagree with that at this stage. You know what
I mean? You're on the internet.
That we wouldn't be better off without it.
Yeah, I'm just not going to go there, because I'm just going to. I'm going to go
steer back to the
their professional mode and just rant about anti-vaxxers, and there's no point. There's no point wasting your breath on them.
My thumbs, toes, and other limbs that things will go well for you. Exactly. Everything goes well for you, Zen. Right, I don't know which wash I put where. I need to. The tones, like in the bottle, these look totally different. Oh, that looks weird. Why is it picking up the brown as it's picking up the wash like it's a green? That's hilarious. Yeah. Why is it being weird? Has it been like that long, or is it just like done that now?
To be honest with you, I find it very difficult to get my camera to show up the colours that I'm painting. Like, it doesn't look anything like what it does on the camera at all.
Oh yeah, the like your the towns and stuff.
Yeah, it looks totally different on camera because it's the lighting. I need to figure out better lighting on my desk. Yours looks good.
Brock Lobster's asking, yeah, man, I've got a green screen on. We're doing Zoom meetings, so I've got a green screen kicking in every now and then, and it's being a bit weird at times. You know, the nature of these things, they don't work out. Oh, that's too much wash. They don't work out too well.
I've got some homemade curry on the go, so
I've one camera going. That's the solution.
See Dread's lovely curry. Like, oh, yummy, 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 yummy.
But I'm still just putting washes on this key here. I'm trying to
Divine.
Hey, get Dread trying to curry favour.
Oh my god.
Look at that. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
jealous now. I'm gonna have to. I've got like literally a tin of Quality Street, a tin of Celebrations, and a tin of Heroes here that I could crack into, but I've run out of tea, gents. You know what I mean? I can't be having sweet tea, like sacrilege.
No tea.
No,
We've
well,
run out
I've
of tea
had
bags.
I haven't run out of tea bags. The kettle's downstairs, man. Like
Oh.
it's with good reason I don't have the kettle in me room. I'd never leave the bloody thing then at that stage. You know what I mean?
It's just if you couldn't get Yorkshire Gold, man, let me know and I'll bloody send you a box over.
No.
I mean,
I
presumably you'll be able
I
to get
don't
it.
drink
But...
Yorkshire
Oh.
Gold when I'm at home. I
That,
drink.
that's me that struggles with getting it.
Yeah. Northern Ireland, man. You just need to take a road trip up to Northern Ireland. There you go. You've no excuse. That's where I got you, son. Northern Ireland. Get your Asda up there. Use your
I'll say
Yorkshire Gold.
nothing. I'll just say nothing.
So they sell.
No, you've
Yorkshire
already
Gold.
offered them. You can
They
send me some.
sell Yorkshire Gold on the same island you live on. You've no fucking excuse. None.
No.
Seal. But yeah, Dread. If you want me to
Store-
mail you,
store-
if you want me to mail you some, I can mail you some.
Thank you.
He says super orangey. Whoop, whoop.
Did you watch the GAA final?
Did I watch the GA final? Did I watch sport? What do you think the answer is going to be?
Probably a no, but
There
it's
you go.
Dublin.
Do you know what I spent the last 2 days doing? Watching all of season 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian. That's what I spent my time
Oh,
doing.
yeah.
Yeah, man. Oh, it's
Any
class.
good?
Oh, it's brilliant.
No.
Yeah. Should go watch it.
Yeah, I've watched the first 3 episodes.
Oh, here it comes.
I got to the third episode. Has a particular kind of
That's why
particular kind of race that I really like in Star Wars. Houdini! And for, like at that point, I was just like, right, well, this show's peaked.
Nah, it's good, man.
Can't do any better.
It's good.
It can drop down a little bit and still stay amazing, but it's like it's peaked.
Yeah, I'll give it a go.
It's good. It's really good.
It's great crack. I was advised by someone, and thank you to them for advising me to watch it. They know who they are.
That git is known.
That git is known. He knows who he is. He knows who he is. This is going really weird. But okay. Can you see the difference between the... Oh, Jesus. I've washed everything. Maybe because it's still wet and the green screen's acting up. But, like, the tone difference, it's, like, super orangey now.
Yeah.
See, I can show green because I don't have a green screen. Look at that.
I'll have to... but this isn't even green. It's, like, wet. So it's sort of... Anything that's liquidy is coming up in the green screen attack. So I think I'll probably do all of this in various rushed washes and then probably hit up with the primer rust again, or like I've a few rust colours for Vallejo I could give a bash, but I really should probably pick out the metals and stuff after I've done this and then wash them.
Just excites me so much hearing someone say rust, metal. That's my favourite part of painting orcs by far.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking like this is the messy part. So then the last thing that will probably be done is some of the details. So like the skeletons or the skulls and his orc skin, I think will be the last bit. So I reckon I'd get like the rust done and then stipple some yellow over in patches to show that he's like a bad man or whatever. And then throw some washes over those parts. And then I'll do like metal parts. Actually, yeah, no, I'll do yellow after I've done the rust. Then I'll do metal parts, then I'll finish the skin. Or maybe I'll put a wash on before I do the skin, because the skin's going to be one of the last bits, I think, because this is so messy. Normally I like to paint from the inside out, so I paint the skin first, but this, I'm stippling the absolute bejesus out of this. Pick out a few key parts and details and whatever, pick in different metals, and then decide what colour to do this Primaris, what's getting squished. I still haven't decided what chapter to do them yet.
Yeah,
Gotta be Ultramarines blue, surely.
I don't know. Everybody loves to see a Smurf squished. Even like even fellow Space Marine players love to see a Smurf getting a good squish. Getting a good
Let's
crack.
double troll a load of people that might be in the chat. What you want to do is paint it Dark Angels green, so you can make it a Space Marine a Chaos Space Marine Primaris. There we go.
Chaos Space Marine Prime. Oh, I see what you mean. I might paint it up like Iron Hands then, isn't it? Or Iron Warriors? Is it Iron Hands or Iron Warriors?
I was
Close.
making a subtle dig at Dark Angels. Well, not a subtle dig at Dark Angels. I was making a dig at Dark Angels.
You're making a dig at Dark Angels. I don't think. I'm sure there are Dark Angel players out there, but they're not exactly common on the ground.
Yeah.
Navani said he hasn't seen a Mandalorian yet. No spoilers, please. Don't worry, I'll mute them. There'll be no spoilers from me. There'll be none. Yeah, just keep the spoilers to yourself. This is the way. This is the way, Drunken Orc. He knows what I'm talking about. This is the way. The son is saying he was disappointed with the Mando, but it's better than 789. I have no idea what 789 is.
A rancid shit is better than 7, 8, and 9.
The latest Star
Oh,
Wars.
the films, the movies. I thought 7 was alright. 8 was utter garbage, and 9 was trying to like redeem a fucking a dumpster fire. So it was doomed from the start.
It was like they wasted a brilliant cast on the fucking petty squabbling of 2 grown fucking men who couldn't plan to save their fucking life. And considering that 3 of those people that are in that fantastic cast, well, 4 or 5 of those people in the fantastic cast, probably the last time we're ever going to get them on the screen as those characters. And they wasted them. And I just think that's offensive. I would say probably 7th, 8th, and 9th are probably a bigger disaster than the Star Wars Christmas special.
Do you know what I heard has been really good? Apparently, the Lego Christmas specials I've heard are supposed to be amazing for some reason. I haven't watched them yet, but I'll give them a bash.
I watched the original Lego movie and I thought that was awesome. I thought it was really good, and I didn't even know that there's actually a second one. So I'm actually
Everything is awesome.
Yeah,
it's a really good film actually. It's got a nice little twist towards the end of it. I've not seen the second one. I think it's pretty obvious to see where the twist is going to be in that one, but I won't talk about it in case it isn't obvious to everybody.
Mostly Zen is saying swap the arm to suit your opponent. I can't even talk English. Lack of tea. I'm being worn down by lack of tea, gents. Yeah, I could get, yeah. If it wasn't for the fact I've already super glued them on, I suppose you could do something like that. Do you guys like doing that? I know some people hate doing stuff like that where they'll have like teamed heads or teamed opponent skulls on their miniatures. Some people don't like that because it's like, oh, why have you got a dead Tyrannid on your base when you're fighting Space Marines or something like that? But I like doing that if you have mates who you play against a lot. I remember back in the day I had a looted wagon and it was a rhino, and I used to play against a mate who had purple coloured Space Marines. He did his own chapter, and I specifically asked him how he painted his purple and did the rhino door on one of the sides as his faction colour.
I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Just
Definitely.
sort of a little homage, but also wind your mates up. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah.
Do you remember I killed your miniature the last time?
And with Orcs, you can get away with that easy enough because, like, you can have. Yeah, I mean, like you saying about having Tyrannid bits on your base. If you're not fighting a Tyrannid player, so what? Who cares? You know, like I think, like particularly with flash gits and knobs and mega knobs, like there's nothing, saying you can't decorate them with, like if you remember, there was an image of an orc way back when with a wolf pelt over the mega armor, like that sort of thing. And there's like personalized decoration, but orcs do that. So yeah, go for it. Like I'm having some different themed flash kits and stuff like that. There might be flash kits, but they've, this one specializes on hunting Tyrannids, and this one he's really good at killing other orcs, and this one he's really good at hunting Space Marines. They've just got specialities maybe.
Well, from playing that Dawn of War game, I've been liking the flash kits that they have there. They're sort of like heavy duty commandos, kind of. You know what I mean? I'm liking the look of them. They do look really nice.
I think that's going to be one of my next model projects. Is some flash kits.
Very good.
I'm going to do some deliberately old school ones. I'm going to try and do the Captain Badrock's flash kits from
Oh, from way back when.
from from first edition from Rogue Trader, but update them to look more modern using probably the knob kit
The knob kit's a good start.
and bits from the flash kit, but not a whole load because really dislike that kit. I really dislike it. I hate basically everything about it. Well, I've got a long list of reasons why, and I think I'll probably go into quite a lot of them in the video when I start doing that project.
So versatile. There's so much you can do with it. Mm.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
I love that kit. I really
there's
do.
a lot of random little bits that you can stick on what is effectively a brick to make it look still like a brick on a clown shoe 40mm base. The bases are too big. It's classic Games Workshop leg distance style of let's just make them do the splits so the base is really big.
Oh, yeah,
And
give you that.
and just like the guns are just like it's clever that they found a way to make it customizable, but at the same time, like if you take away the fact that they're customizable, it's actually not that clever because it's just like all the guns are the same shape and you're just adding bits on. And I've got a visual like silly idea that I'm going to do to display what I don't like about them. And I'll do that for my video when I finally get around to doing flash kits and why I'm doing my own flash kits rather than the official ones.
Oh yeah, I'm always doing my own, but like I think they're a great kit for me. I never do anything official, as you know. Like so, for me, I see everything as bits, and I think that's got some really great bits. Like for me, that's all it is. I don't think I've ever built a model stock. You know,
I think they're deeply impractical for what they are. I think that's my biggest issue with them. It's just like you shouldn't have an infantry unit that easy to kill. Granted, they've improved their survivability, but like when they brought them out, they had a 6+ bloody save with a 40mm base. Like, and like the amount of like shots that they could personally do was like terribly low. Like for the size of what they are, their damage output is kind of terrible, particularly in 7th edition. And I'm sure they're not bad now.
Yeah, they're supposed to be knobs. You know, they're supposed to be knobs. Specialist knobs.
Yeah, but if GW starts putting all the knobs on 40mm, I'm gonna have to fall out with Games Workshop again. But like, because like 40mm is just so impractical for like something that's not a Terminator.
Well, you don't have to worry about it if you're only dealing with retro.
Well, yeah. I'm deliberately putting mine on 32s at best. Like,
you don't have to worry about it then. Because that's what I'd like to do myself is put them on 32s. I don't like the 40mm bases.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, I'm not going to be playing in any tournament, so I don't think anybody's really going to have a problem with it. You know what I mean?
I might run into a few people who might have a problem with it if I end up playing the modern game, but
I don't worry about what the official base size is. To be honest with you, I just go with whatever I feel looks good. I don't care.
It's like everything, you know what I mean? Just don't take the piss. You know, I think putting flash kits on 32mm bases instead of 40s, you know, wouldn't really be taking the piss. You know what I mean? If I tried to put them on 25s, and well, you know.
I mean, I might do like sort of like maybe scenic modifier bases where I like, like have a 40mm to put on them to make them game legal, but I don't really care enough. if I thought 9th edition was worth playing, I'd probably do it.
Well, that's the
Don't
beauty
you
of it, though. If you
freaking
can
start poke.
if you put up smaller bases, if you put them on smaller bases, you can always put like base sizers on them. You can always fit them into bigger bases. You know what I mean? So it's not too much of an issue. It's like, oh, I've put them on 32mm bases, but I built these little ringlets that they sit in that brings them up to 40mm size if you ever want to go to a tournament. It's kind of harder to go the other way.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to go from 40mm to 32s, it's like, well... Orc stuff was saying, yeah, cut the brick down to half length. That way you get plenty of spare bits to customize your combi shielders. I think he was even saying that to me, where you can, if you shorten the length of their gun, you can bash it in with some the knobs kit. And I'll probably do something like that with the flash kits. I'll bash them in with a knobs kit and just give them shorter guns, so they're sort of like special forces. That's the type of idea I'd go with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where they wouldn't be freebootery pirates, they'd be sort of blood axey flash kits. So, you know, the equivalent of SEAL Team 6 or something like that, but orky. That would be the idea I'd go with.
Sure.
You know, proper crack assault team type dudes. Because they are knobs after all, so they're going to be hard as nails.
Exactly.
But then I think there might be a bit of confusion at this point because some people, or a lot of people, I think the conception of flash kits is they're all freeboot of pirates. So
Yeah.
the own flash kits that don't just look like upgun commandos for me is going to be a bit harder. But
The Codex hasn't really helped because they're really doubling down on this whole thing of freeboot as a pirates thing, which is not helpful because, like, there is so much more to freebooters than just being pirates, unless GW's deciding that they're just going to retcon it to simply, like, orcs that are pirates are freebooters, and that's it. Which seems like a big shame, really, because they're really closing a lot of doors shut that would be of some use to a lot of players. But yeah, and it's not like it's difficult to do. Like, I've got a very memorable mnemonic that I've already shared before on one of our videos of, like, you know, it's all orc pirates are freebooters, but not all orc freebooters are pirates. Like, it's not difficult to say in a codex, you know.
dropped it to them. Right, folks, we're coming to the end of the hobby hangout. We've already overrun by 10 minutes. Time does fly. So if you want to throw some of your stuff in the Discord, there should be a link in the description of the video. If I can throw a link up to the Discord myself, up in the chat for you guys, and you can throw in your work in progress that you've been doing. We'll have a look. And we'll have a gander at on what you have been working on, what bits and bobs. I think the question we all want answered is: did Dread manage to finally finish his paint? Did you manage to get your recipes ordered, mate?
Well, I've had a green I'm happy enough with. I've written it down as I've gone, so I'm going with it. So I'm getting it on.
Well, that's the
Close enough, says
key
Ian.
there, isn't it?
Close enough, right? So I'll create the invoice for that.
Very thin. Definitely going to need a lot of coats for it to get anywhere in some of the browner areas, but.
Right, so there's the link in the chat description. We'll have a look. Poke is saying, "Damn, I use Bane blades as trucks."
I'm not going to care about that. I know it's silly, but I just care about infantry basing. That's it. Like, scale of vehicles doesn't bother me as much. I don't know what.
They were saying, yeah, Dread's base is keen. Talking about your bases that you were on about, Dread, your little. I've seen them. They're. Yeah, I suppose you could make them so that they're spacers as well. Like.
Yeah, they kind of are. Yeah, I have got a few.
Oh, wow, we've got quite a lot.
Are you far from the mic, Dread? You're a bit hard to hear me.
Sorry, mate. I was painting, wasn't I? Sorry. I was doing this, dude.
Nice. So what were you saying?
Nothing special.
So yeah, you could. I reckon you could probably do that if you did like spacers for 25s that go up to 32s or whatever. That would be pretty good as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there's a few options we're talking about doing for that sort of thing because I want a product that's going to work with my army the way I've put it together and for my purposes, but I want it to be useful for other people too.
This is true, yeah. Yeah, I think like it's doable. I think folk will like it.
Yeah.
Like even I was looking at them, like they're pretty cool. I like the idea of having like clan glyphs. So if you have different clans in your army, you could do like paint up the bases to help differentiate them a bit more visually for folks as well. If you're mixing clans,
Exactly. And
yeah,
if
even
you're-
if you want to do different clan rules, but you don't want to repaint your miniatures,
exactly.
give them
Got
different
the
clan
bases.
bases. You know what I mean? That's
I'm gonna basically the metal plates on the sides of them. They're just the right size for you to get a lot of the glyphs from the transfer sheets to fit on them, so you can use those to depict what clan they're in, or battles they've won, or how tough they are, that sort of thing.
all the bits and bobs. Right. Well, we're gonna put the Discord over and have a look at what people's been working on. So the live stream work in progress. Just have it open there, you gits. When did we start? From today. Right. Gar. Gar's been working on
Tasty looking
the
Death Dread.
Yeah, Gar's paint jobs are always nice. Very nice.
Although this is it seems to be a rare lack of plasticard there, Gar. Although the kit's good. Like,
Look, that's a cracking paint job. I can't.
Oh, yeah.
I like the grey. I like the way he's done the washes and whatnot. It's
Oh,
three
wow.
claws and a scorcher. Looking schwank, man.
I cannot see it.
I wish I could do wear and tear like he could, like he can.
Well, you could always ask him to do a tutorial for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You know what I mean? You can always ask Gar, how does he do his painting, Gar? You know what I mean? No harm. The pictures are in the Discord thread. That's how we're having a gander at them.
I don't know over there.
Live stream work in progress.
That's the one.
Well, live stream WIP.
Oh, and he's trying
UIP.
to, he's trying to finish the second one. Oh, nice.
Yeah, nice.
Nice lens effects. Very nice.
Be interested to know if those are if he's used transfers or whether or not he's sprayed that number on with a transfer.
Yeah, I don't know. Suppose you can ask and see in the comment section. Have you painted that one on, Gar, or is it a transfer? Thomas saying
Looks tidy, whatever it is.
Death Dread. I'm definitely looking in the right live stream work in progress because I'm like, there's a couple of Death Dreads here. Hold on. This isn't the Death Dread work in progress. Now, here's my Death Dread work in progress, says Tom. Rusty Rocco. Rusty Rocco. An angry Killacan of Doom. I love it. What is the bit on the top? I don't know where it's from. Do you recognize it yourself?
I'm looking. I don't recognize it either.
Engineer Jeff just popped in. He's asking, so does anybody run Gaz asking for someone else? ... Smiley face. Scott was saying Gaz is pretty beast mode.
Chat links, no.
It's looking good, man.
Is Dredd still trying to find where these pictures are?
Jesus. Probably.
Yes, I am.
Tom,
Fuck's sake, Dredd.
saying he's done a bunch of rivets and glyphs on his Gargant. He'll want to get these finished so I can
Right, so
find
it's
them.
go into the old community, Dredd, and it's Damek shop.
Yeah.
And then it's like the fifth one down, I think. Live stream WIP.
I found it.
Yeah.
Hooray!
And then you go to today.
Nice.
And we're looking at Tom's ones at the moment. We're looking at most of his ends. So
Bits and
Oh.
rivets and gubbinses and glyphs, and I like that he's using a mixed bag of everything. He's got like old school shields with newer shields and new terrain and bits of everything.
There. Good. Right. I'll change my
Bits of everything.
a little bit.
the Gargant, he's loading the Gargant with detail. It's
Oh
looking
yeah, the way
really
it
good.
should be. It's the way it should be. I think that's even is that the engine off a Gorkanaut or something on the back? I think so. Riveted to hell and back. I've heard that, you know what's supposed to be really good? Those sort of half pearls. It's like
Oh yeah, I've got some of those.
well, I think their original intent is to be put onto nails, so they're like plastic pearls, half pearls. So
I got a load of those. The only thing is that they retained the little sticker thing on the back. Some of the times you have to like get a little blade and take that off because
take the sticker off the back, because I've seen people work wonders with them. They're half spheres, and you can glue them on, and you can get I know you can get multi packs, so they'll have various sizes.
aim for the smallest ones you can find because most of them are quite large.
Yeah, so maybe that might be a good tip for you there, Tom, to help you in regards to riveting, especially if you're doing this much riveting, like sweet Jesus. This much riveting of various scales. If you give them a bash, I'm sure that'll help out. I like the detail around the CO2 canister. Nice use of it.
I just like the shields. Those must be fourth ed. They look like they're fourth ed, fifth ed shields.
I don't know who this mug is, but I hope it's not you. But yeah, I'm liking the lifted dropper. That's one of Kyle's. Yeah, so he's integrating a bit of everything in this. I like it, 3D printed stuff. He's got kit stuff. Good mishmash project, the way it should
There's
be.
bits of Necromunda old and new I saw, so there's like some of the bits of the
old bulkheads
and the old bulkheads.
3D printed bits. Bits of everything, man. It's glorious. I'm looking forward to seeing this done. Old stone boys and everything. Nice. Rock Lobster was working on something what broke. What happened there?
Oh no.
Is it a 3D printed part?
Yeah. I think so.
What happened to the inside of it? I'm turning one of my 2 Gear Guts planes into a scrapjet. His Australia supplier sent me a freebie. Okay. So that this didn't print properly, and you got some freebie parts.
Nice.
Right, okay. Well, that's cool. Very nice. I was looking at it going, what in the sweet Jesus happened to that?
It's crazy.
Cool, man. Nice. Brack working on his Weird Boy.
Yeah, that's Kyle's one.
Yeah, Kyle's
It's a nice model. I've got that somewhere.
What are you doing for Weird Boy's Dread?
The Weird Boy I'm using is, I haven't got him painted up yet, is the one from RTLW. But I changed the head on it for a different head.
Of course you did. I expected no less. I would have been disappointed if you didn't.
I've got to do a conversion to it yet. I haven't finished with it.
I've got like a floating Skarsnik on like on a platform.
Do I see Gorka Morka, Gretchen? Yeah. Oh yes. Very nice.
Oh yeah.
You have Skarsnik floating as your Weird Boy, do you?
Yeah. I think it's still my channel avatar, Hobby Get channel avatar, I think is the picture of it. And I'm pretty sure there's a picture of it in the War Bosses episode where we talk about our conversions, although there's a lot of pictures in there, to be fair, so people might not want to sift through it. I was hoping I had him handy, but I don't, and I don't want to go through too much of people trying to look for him, because it's not really going to be worth it. But one day, I'm hoping to do a conversion showcase on my channel soon, so that is definitely going to factor in. It's definitely going to be one of the ones I show off because it's one of my better conversions.
Nice.
So yeah, but yeah, I made it, and it's got all sorts of bits. It's a really, really old conversion because it's got like it's got bits from the metal Auger scrap launcher. That's how old it is.
I think you showed me it before. Yeah, no, I do remember it being good. It's a nice one. We have the Red Mech has been busy looting some pansy armor and putting it on some truck wheels. My God, that's a beast.
Yeah, Pansy Lover, nice one.
Nice.
Reminds me of the classic Scarpia Pansy Lover, hence the term Pansy Lover. Was it? Which one did you do the grav tank of? It was the 2, wasn't it?
Who,
He asks, hoping
Scarp?
Dread. Yeah, yeah. Do you remember Dread?
No.
I like
I
that this
think
one's
no. I'm
actually
sure
up
it's. I'm
high.
sure it's two because I think the first Pansy Lover was the Dark Eldar thing. It was Dark Eldar Raider. So
Mm.
yeah.
I like that this has some height to it though. Normally you see these like
Oh,
super
yeah.
low to the ground or whatever, and that he's put ladders on the back. And people and their granny grating. I love seeing this stuff around as well. Nice, man.
Yeah, I'm liking that.
Nice.
Oh, look, here we go. Carl's showing off again. Yeah.
The only thing I would probably do different with myself personally, if it was me, is this area here under that front of the Falcon or whatever. That's screaming out for a Death Roller or a Ram or something like that to me.
Yeah.
I think this area here is screaming out for something.
Yeah, you could totally do that. I'll tell you what would look really, really nice. Try and do like a tri-plow, like a pointed,
Oh yeah.
like dozer blade. Kind of like the Grot Mega Tank one, but obviously you probably don't want to use the Grot Mega Tank one. But you can make tri-blades using like GW dozers quite easily, just because of the way that they're designed. It's not that difficult to do. I've done it before. And it'll look pretty nice. And if you make it nice and snug, given how tall it is, if you can find a friend or someone near to you or someone around who's got some Gene Stealer cult and has bought at least 2 Goliaths,
Yeah, that Goliath dozer. I was
a
thinking
lot of
yeah.
Gene Stealer cult players build the Goliath without the dozer blade on, and they'll have those dozer blades going spare. See if you can get a couple of those for spare, because they'll be the perfect height for what you want, and they'll match up with the prongs underneath. I mean, obviously that might detract a little bit from the Eldar-ness, so you might not want to do it. But I think like or indeed a Death Roller. A Death Roller would probably be pretty cool too. Either of those
good.
options.
Yeah, definitely. It looks good though.
Or you could even stick like a cab. If you didn't want to add any like upgrades that costed points, you could add like a cab underneath at the front, just to give it like that little bit extra structure.
Kyle's being busy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it all over Instagram as well.
This probably all took him like what, 5 minutes, 3,
maybe 2, maybe
2 at a push. Nice chunky shooters, man. Very nice, Quill.
I like the thunder tankiness of the top one. I really do.
Love me some goggles on boys as well. Goggles.
They are some pretty mean looking tracks. What's the size of the base he has to the side for reference? Is it like 40 mil or?
I'm sure he uses a 32 mil for scale.
For scale reference.
Yeah,
Zen
I
is
think
asking
so.
Kyle, have you made a 3D printed Death Roller design yet? Yeah, I think he has. I think it's part of a kit. I definitely think he has something. Either he's done one specifically or it's part of a kit. I know some of the dozer blades definitely are as well. Poke is saying the chunk is done.
Yeah.
Nice poke.
Unless I'm not the only one.
Very nice. What did he use for a cannon? Does that come with the kit? This one comes with like 3
Yeah, it comes with a kit.
They knocked it out of the park, Cromlech. They really did, man.
Lobber. Zap. And we've got the cannon. The cannon's the only option that remains. So you might be thinking, oh, it's wasted getting the other 2. Well, you can use the other 2 on other things. Stick them on battle wagons, for instance. I'm sure they're still an option on battle wagons. And even if they're not, use them as all big guns. They're still in Legends for now, at least. Not this edition later on, I doubt it. But who knows? But either way, that's still 3 things you're getting in that kit that the Forge World one doesn't have. That's 20 quid more. So
this is his first time wet blending. #jealous. Look at it. Nice. Very nice. Very nice poke.
It's a very, very good technique if you're doing 2-layer skin like that. It's a really, really cool idea.
And he was showing me these the other night. These are cacti. Would that be the plural of cactuses?
Yeah, it is cacti.
There, see, look, fucking. There you go, Dim.
They're very cool.
They're a kit. He'll have to post up in the York community where he got them, but that's a kit that he has. It's like a plastic kit for cacti. It's a box.
It's a cowboy Gazgul. Look at that.
And the gob as well. Nice. Very nice poke. Cracking work, mate. Absolutely cracking work. Job well done. Job's a good one. Tom converted a flash kit to show them. Gun is from Warboss, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Warboss arm. Yeah.
Yeah,
That looks good. I like that. That looks good.
Yeah, that looks like that's the metal one.
Drill your barrels, you get. Yeah, it looks like the metal Warboss arm. Yeah, it looks fine actually. It looks decent in place.
Oh yeah,
Vanny.
Nav's going with his red skin craziness.
Oh yeah, looking good, man. I haven't even touched my Gazgul yet. I haven't gone near him.
Yeah.
And I have no idea what way I want to paint him yet at all. I mean, part of me wants to take like a hacksaw to him so I can re-angle some of the limbs and stuff, but it just looks like it would be an absolute pain to do. So I don't know. But yeah, cracking work now, Varney. Going with the red orcs. Red. Orc stuff is saying he made a death roll out of tin plate and melee put once. Most spiteful lump I've ever had to work with. Essex boys. He's walking on terrain. Corrugated cardboard for the win.
Nice.
And the speakers. Look at the his speakers that he's doing up.
Class.
Very class. Very nice. What do you do, Essex boys? Do you like do you coat them before you paint them? The cardboard? Because I know when I was talking to John, he was saying about making terrain out of cardboard. He likes to stipple Mod Podge onto the buildings, let them dry, and then it's sort of that really helps with the longevity of them.
And it's as I suspected. It's Blood Bowl. I saw the next one's the dugout.
The dugout.
It's
so this is the
reserves. Casualties and chaos / knockout, chaos / sent off players. I think.
Nice. This is cool. He's doing the Blood Bowl dugout. Yeah, Modge, Lodge, and paint. Modge Podge. He Modge Podges it and paints it. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, I thought it was much. So it gives it a bit of longevity, a bit of strength. Nice. Yeah, looking forward to seeing them done, man. And then this is what you were working on, Dim.
Yep.
So what were you using? Tinny tin, was it?
Rough iron, but rough iron and tinny tin are basically the same. You can use either of them.
Right.
They look an awful lot like the OGW tin bits. They are ideal for rust. I use them as a base. I pick out particular areas that I do orange. I sometimes add a couple of other metal textures, maybe a bit of bronze, bit of like weird colors if I want to pick out particular areas. And then I dry brush the whole thing lead belcher. And it covers over most of the orange that I use, but there's a little bit left and it gives that little difference. And then I do a varied amount of ink washes, depending on what kind of color I think each plate should be. And that's kind of my just universal technique. And then if I'm going to, and obviously before I do the washes, if I've got an area that I want to, or sometimes even after I do the washes. So if I want the metal to look a particular way, I'll wash it. Then I'll add paint on. Then I'll add paint onto it if I want it to be a particular color. It's time consuming, but it seems to help. And like lead belcher just seems to be the best base coat for putting anything over the top of it. It's the same with the lead belcher spray. I'll give GW that. The lead belcher spray is a freaking good base coat if you want to use, because it's just like you can put white over it and yellow over it with less chore. My friend paints his white scar army by spraying everything lead belcher and then just putting the white straight over it.
And then the coverage is pretty good over the white, is it?
Yeah. Just don't use GW's horrible white paints.
Oh yeah, no, it's white paints.
Heavy body, acrylic white.
Poke was saying, shameless plug of a video on how to make cheap corrugated metal. You do, Poke. Essex Boy said
Yeah,
he's
it's a
seen it.
cracking
I've seen
vid
it.
as well.
I've thrown that link into the live chat there. That's Poke's video. You can check it out. It's pretty good. And then you've been busy with your squigoths. Nice.
Yeah, that green is heavy black green. It's one of the extra
That's the one I
opaque
used on the
colors.
Blood Boil team I have.
Yeah. I didn't really need to do a second coat, but I did a second coat anyway.
Oh, right. I was about to say, that's only one coat. You know, the coverage on them, the extra opaques, is really good.
The
Really
coverage
good.
is fantastic. You very rarely need two coats. Particularly if you're using it as just like a base and then moving on and you're adding extra layers on the top of it. It's perfect. And because it's still thin, it mixes really well with whatever you want to do. So it's a lot easier to do 50-50 mixes. I really found that because I'm sort of old school layering, that's what I've always done, old school layering and dry brushing. And I found after a while that GW paints were just making me a terrible painter. Like I just couldn't, because I would want to mix a base and a layer together, and the mix was always terrible because the base is thicker than the layer. So it's just not a good mix. And I find that if you want to paint that way, Vallejo and Army Painter are going to serve you better than the GW paints will.
Just for mixing and consistencies of the mixes.
Well, actually, probably any other paint range other than GW.
And there you go. I got some rust done. I started throwing rust washes on, so I got a bit done. You know, there you go, Roxy. More than base layers.
It's looking good, man.
The drunken orc said he finished his kill tank. Nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
I like the back door opening. Nice.
The back door. Have you been staring at his back door there, Dread?
I was checking out the back door right there.
Mm-hmm.
Admiring it. It is. That's very cool.
In through the outdoor.
Very nice work, Ron. Is this all printed, is it? Yeah, this looks printed. Nice. Cool. And it looks good, man. That Goliath ram on the front that you were talking about. Yeah, that Goliath ram under the pansy part. I think there's enough height. There might, it looks like the wheels might. It just depends. That might look cool.
Oh, I forgot that it's already tri-blade, so it's already like that. So you could just use one for that craft tank.
Yeah.
I thought you'd need two.
No. This one's been cracking away with orky bits for his bikes. He's doing handlebars and headlights. Working on the handlebars.
That's the old bike as well.
It is the old bike as well.
Excellent.
Nice. He's also working on another depth tread, very early stages, trying to get the basic pose right. I see. I get you. Staying busy, lads. These are staying busy. I'll give you that. Oh, stick it on the Primaris bike. Do it.
Oh, God, yes. That's freaking awesome. Why would you want to do anything else after doing that?
You have to, man.
That is the only good use for a Primaris bike. Fact.
This just screams of like. Do you ever see the clowns on the mini bikes? It's yeah.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
That's brilliant, man. Do it. Has to be done.
Oh, that's brilliant. Make a squad.
Orcs of saying he's waiting for the Blackwell paint. I inadvertently put on my acrylic wet palette. Ah, right. Giving them like smoky eye. Nice stuff. He likes his extra long pole arms. So does orc stuff. Nice blood axes. Bit of Korean camo going as well. What do you think, Dread?
Very nice.
Nice bit of progress. Yeah, I look forward to seeing this finished up, man. Always does a bit of milliput work as well. The gobs look cool.
Well, just like that's one of the things that I think is really, really lacking in GW designs. And I'm hoping when we get around to getting like an update to the Orcs, maybe that might be something that they address. Although there's a lot of third party that cover us for this as well. Just like very bland expressions, very very boring expressions. Like it's either serious or it's and there's no variation between those two things. And it's like this is the faction that is having fun
That's the appeal of
in the 40k universe. And yeah, and like the old school Orcs had all manner of various grins and smiles and just
Snickering.
ridiculously
Yeah.
shit-eating grins, and like, you know, with teeth, without teeth, you know,
The whole
raised
shebang.
eyebrows, just everything. Like, and we need a little bit of that goodness back, I think. Given that a few of the people who are involved with GW at the moment spend an awful lot of time talking about how they like the old Rogue Trader stuff, you might get a bit of that coming back in the modern Orc. It's
Well, we'll
very
see,
possible.
We'll see. Orc stuff is giving you a stick here. He said, that's not the old bike at all, Dim. The old bike's made of metal.
You really old one.
I mean, yeah. If you want me to make you feel old, bad thing, I'll just go with that. That's the old one to me, is the plastic one from Gorkamolka, because that's the first one that I remember. I mean, I have seen the metal one.
I have one. I don't have the normal one. I have the knob biker. When the knob bikers used to have a driver, so that the knob had both of his hands free.
Oh, yeah.
That's yeah. I found that funny. Back in the day, Orc knob bikers had their own driver, so that the knob bikers rode in the back and had both arms free for crumping, as you do. So yeah, we've had great crack. I sadly ran out of tea halfway through the stream, so I didn't quite fill me gullet full of as many snowballs as I would like. I think I only had the one, but you know, plenty for later on, and a mountain of sweets to go through. It's been great crack overall. It's been productive this year, painting wise, for me. I have to say, I've enjoyed all the hangouts. I want to say thanks for everyone who's watched them. I know there was a period of time that got a bit up in the air with the hangouts because I started a new job, but you know, things have settled down again, so it's been great crack. I want to say thanks to Dame and Dread for coming on, lads. Thanks for helping me with the last hobby hangout of 2020. Our Orksmas special episode. It's been fun, and yeah, I
Hope you enjoyed our 2020 vision.
Oh Jesus! You just had to, didn't you?
Well, I've only got like 8 days to use it, so.
Tell them there's a War Boss episode coming up on Christmas Day.
Oh yeah, there is.
There is, yeah. We've got a special episode, Orc War Bosses episode coming up for you on Christmas Day. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. We've got something good coming for you in the pipeline. There'll be more hobby hangouts in 2021, but this is the one wrapping up 2020. So
Nice.
Merry Orksmas. You know, seasons beatings, yes gets, and yeah, I hope everyone has a good one. I hope you all stay healthy, and you know, I hope we have a better year next year. So that's
not much of a challenge.
The only way is up. So yeah, it's a goodbye from Scar. Don't forget to drill your barrels.
Bye from Dim, the hobby git. Learn from my mistakes.
Hang on 2 seconds.
I'm
trying. There he is.
Hey!
Enough said from Dread.
Enough said from Dread. Cheers, folks. Merry Orksmas. Done.